Station. Time to schedule your air conditioner service. Get not just your AC, but your entire HVAC system checked for $19 a month with the preferred partner plan. And be ready for the first heat wave. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
Annie Frey, Ryan Wiggins, Brad Ray.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
For goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
The case involves whether the Trump administration can restrict birthright citizenship. The 9 justices will hear arguments about an executive order the president signed on his first day back in office, seeking to deny federal benefits such as passports to children born in the U.S. to illegal immigrants. The order was blocked by several judges who ruled that the 14th Amendment guarantees citizenship to almost everyone born in the U.S. Now it heads to the high court. The president posting on Truth Social, quote, "Birthright citizenship has to do with the babies of slaves, not Chinese billionaires who have 56 kids, all of whom become American citizens. One of the many great scams of our time, President Donald J. Trump." Some numbers: under President Trump's policy, roughly 255,000 children born on U.S. soil each year would start life without U.S. citizenship. According to the Migration Policy Institute, that's about 6% of all projected births.
That's a pretty wild statistic right there. About 6% of U.S. births are birthright citizenship cases. Welcome to the Annie Frey Show. Thank you for being with us here this afternoon. A rainy Wednesday, April 1st. And I've been told many, many times in the media business that you are not allowed to do any April foolery on April 1st. So you won't have any April Fool's jokes here today.
What if
Nope, none.
I had something amazing planned?
Ryan is our April Fool.
All right, I guess, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to talk to legal, come back in a couple segments, and we'll just hash it out.
Good luck finding him today.
Okay.
So the birthright citizenship case being heard at the Supreme Court today, I listen to these things, and I have to... To me, it's like listening to the Supreme Court, arguments in front of the Supreme Court. Did you listen to any of it?
No, I followed it, but I didn't listen to it.
Listening to it is kind of like getting in an ice bath.
Yeah. That's why I didn't listen to it.
Yeah. That's actually, I am more like that towards ice baths. Supreme Court case hearings, I want it more than I want an ice bath. I'll put it that way. But you start listening and you're like, okay, I got mind. We are actively going to focus on paying attention here and trying to understand these really smart people make their cases. There's no video.
Right.
You just have to listen to the thing, and you have to understand, try to understand the arguments that they're making. And the other thing is that they speak, because it's the Supreme Court, and you would expect them to do so. They speak in a very legalistic way, and they're citing former cases and precedent and. I don't know. I was just about to quote some of the bold-faced words they say, and I'm probably going to say it wrong. I think I'm proving my amateur nature on this. I don't need to do it even more by mispronouncing these legal terms. But the case in front of us right now, in front of the Supreme Court of the United States, is whether or not birthright citizenship is extended to people who come here, who are here illegally. They have children who are born for a second. Just ask President Trump. They're here for mere seconds, and they are granted the citizenship of the greatest country on the face of the planet. President Trump has a problem with that, and you just heard that statistic there on that Fox News report, that 6%, what was the number, like 285,000 or 35,000?
255,000.
255,000 births a year are birthright citizenship births. There was a lot of discussion in front of the Supreme Court about what they refer to as Indians. So I think, are we calling them Indians right now?
I think the latest term is American Indian.
I don't like the term. I don't know that I have any say in this, but I am a Native American.
Yeah, that's why they've gone back to American Indian. I
also would imagine that if you were somebody who were formerly referred to as African American, I would be, I don't want it. I'm very German. I'm about, I don't know. I know it's deeper than this, but for the most part, 3/4 German, 1/4 Australian, which is whatever Australian was before, down that line. I know there's a little Chinese in there, which is kind of cool.
Oh, that's interesting.
I don't. The Australian heritage, I lean into and I'm curious about, but that's just because it's cool. The German, all the German names in my family, I'm not like adhering to wanting to be recognized as a German American.
Yeah,
forget that.
I know, it's like, okay, thanks.
No, I'm just American. That's just what I am. Now, my family tree, of course, has all of these places of those who immigrated to this country. So we've all come from other places, but Indians didn't. They were here first. So there are issues regarding what formerly were known as Native Americans, but formerly to Native Americans were known as Indians, which now I guess are known as American Indians, but they just referred to them as Indians.
You skipped one. Indigenous people. Which is also true of
I
all
am
of us.
an Indigenous American.
Which is why they moved away from that also.
Yeah. So obviously it's complicated. And the funny thing about that is we all know who we're talking about.
Yeah.
And at one point you say something and then someone's like, oh. And then we got to make that person feel better about themselves.
Right. But it's tough, though,
and it's
because
always an old white lady.
you can't just say Indian, though, because that would be India. So you have to say American Indian.
I don't have to do anything.
Okay.
Until
right.
someone's like, you have to do this. And I'm like, okay.
Until somebody goes, ugh.
Here's John Sauer. He's the U.S. Solicitor General who's arguing on behalf. This case is Donald Trump versus, I can't remember who the other part of it I have it in front of me right now, but this Donald Trump's name is on this case because his administration, it's versus Barbara, his name is on this case. Did you know that the president of the United States has a special seat in the Supreme Court?
I did not know that.
Yes, that is a Harmeet Dillon revelation from earlier today that I read on X, which is pretty incredible. Senator Eric Schmidt had a live tweeting of the case today, so I found that to be a healthy place to follow along. A little known fact pointed out by Harmeet Dillon: the president has a designated seat inside the courtroom at the Supreme Court. Plus, his name is on the trial, so that kind of makes sense. Here's John Sauer, the U.S. Solicitor General, today, talking about or arguing on behalf of President.
We're in a new world now, as Justice Alito pointed out, to where 8 billion people are one plane ride away from having a child who's a U.S. citizen.
Well, it's a new world. It's the same Constitution.
It is, and as Justice Scalia said, I think in the case that Justice Alito was referring to, you've got a constitutional provision that addresses certain evils, and it should be extended to reasonably comparable evils. He said that about statutory interpretation. I think the same principle applies here.
So you've got John Sauer there. I think he had some ice in the middle of that. That's pretty wild. Did that happen? Did it sound like he took some ice water and chomped on some ice in the middle of that?
The little clanking?
I don't know what that was. That was really wild. Here's more from General Sauer arguing on behalf of ending birthright citizenship here. And this is him going back and forth with Ketanji Brown Jackson, which is always a treat. And when I say treat, I mean whatever the opposite of a treat is.
There's currently a system where, for example, social security numbers are generated based on the birth certificate. They say this can still be, for the vast majority of instances, completely transparent. You will still get a...
No, not transparent. I'm just talking about the particulars, because now you say your rule turns on whether the person intended to stay in the United States. And I think Justice Barrett brought this up. So are we bringing pregnant women in for depositions? What are we doing to figure this out?
No, as I pointed out earlier, the executive order turns on lawfulness of status. So if you give birth to a baby in the hospital right now, it gets the birth certificate in the system. There's a computer system.
So there's no opportunity. There's apparently no opportunity then for the person to prove or to say that they actually intended to stay in the United States.
Absolutely not. The opposite is true. Their opportunity to dispute if they think they were wrongly denied, which would only happen in a tiny minority of cases,
after the
is
fact.
Directly addressing that guidance.
After the fact.
Yes.
After their baby has been denied citizenship, then we can go through the process.
Yes. And the way that, I'm summarizing because I'm not an expert in computers, but there's a computer program that currently automatically generates a social security number. SSA says, look, a social security number, non-citizens can have them if they have work authorization, so it doesn't prove citizenship. We'll give you a social security number, provided that the system automatically checks the immigration status of the parents, which there are robust databases for, and then it appears no different to the vast majority of birthing parents.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Ketanji Brown Jackson there as part of the oral arguments with the Trump v. Barbara case, the Birthright Citizenship case. Now, I know that you're like, Annie, we can tell that you're not a legal expert. We've got Will Chamberlain coming on at 1:30, and he is going to tell us his thoughts on the topic. And, does he have a feeling? Did Sauer do a great job and make his case, and he feels like it's going to go his way? Or does he think, I think the 14th Amendment is going to stand as it is right now, and that birthright citizenship will remain in place? The YouTube poll for today is, will birthright citizenship be overturned by the Supreme Court? We'd love to get your vote, yes or no. Senator Eric Schmidt tweeted 3 takeaways regarding his observations of the hearing that took place today. Now, the ruling on this will be delivered by the end of June, but maybe before then. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, this is a huge one. Is there a bigger one in front of the Supreme Court? I don't know that there is.
Probably not.
I'll ask Will Chamberlain that at 1:30 as well. But I think this is the biggest one that they face. A lot of time, that's the last one that gets released. But I think birthright citizenship is one of those things that does have a bit of an urgency to it, so that they might, I guess it kind of, I don't know if it depends on how quickly they can come to a consensus. You don't really have to come to a consensus. They just have to vote. Senator Eric Schmidt posted just within the last hour 3 takeaways. He said Solicitor General John Sauer put on a masterclass. And I think it's important to understand that John Sauer worked under Eric Schmidt when Eric Schmidt was the Attorney General of the state of Missouri. So Missouri has John Sauer, who's the Solicitor General, Senator Eric Schmidt, obviously, who was the former Attorney General. Will Scharf, who was running for Attorney General, is now essentially running all the paper in and out of the Oval Office for the White House. And Andrew Bailey, who's the Deputy Director of the FBI.
So we're
Josh
pretty
Hawley,
good.
who was the Attorney General before Eric Schmidt.
That's pretty good.
Name the Attorney General for the state of Illinois. Anyway, so 3 takeaways. Alexi, do you know this?
I was going to say it.
Yeah.
I thought maybe Secretary of State. I wasn't sure.
I don't know. It might be. Solicitor General John Sauer put on a masterclass. Number 2, the Trump administration is dead right on the law and the Constitution. So Eric Schmidt saying there that the Trump administration has the rights here. And I definitely trust Senator Eric Schmidt to have a good constitutional grasp on what he's talking about in this regard. And he says, number 3, this one is going to be close. The Supreme Court must protect American citizenship and strike down the scam that is birthright citizenship. I don't know anything from a legal standpoint, but my history of reporting on these things makes me feel like Kavanaugh will go the way of ending it, and Coney Barrett and Chief Justice Roberts will go the way of preserving it, and it'll be 5-4.
Well, I think what you're describing is every court case right now.
Mark
almost.
the tape on that and see if I'm right. I hope I'm wrong.
Well, you're always questioning what Amy Coney Barrett and John Roberts are going to do.
The real question here is, where will Ketanji Brown Jackson fall on this issue? I think that we'll have to lean in to find out.
Right.
You never really know.
She could end birthright citizenship for sure.
Yeah.
She's definitely.
I'm pretty
on
sure at the
table.
end of this, she's going to say, I am in favor of gay marriage. And she's like, put a stamp on it. I'm sorry, that's disrespectful. All right, quick break. The YouTube poll, go vote. Can you give us a ton of your text too? Your thoughts on this issue, birthright citizenship, subject to the jurisdiction of. That is the phrase that is this is such a great song, that is causing this birthright citizenship to come into question. Subject to the jurisdiction of. Will Chamberlain will break it down in great, much more articulate and well-researched detail at 1:30. So mark your afternoon for 1:30, Will Chamberlain. We're going to speak with Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg on the Annie Frey Show next. President Trump to address the nation tonight. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw with Retirement Advisory Group.
Hi, I'm Tammy Kershaw. When we meet our clients for the first time, they have built up a lifetime of savings. Their question is, what can we do with this money so we can live comfortably the rest of our lives? First, we develop a strategy to protect your nest egg from any market losses. Then, we build your own personalized structured income plan that will generate you an income the rest of your life. We put you in control of your money.
You've earned it, and it's our job to make sure you enjoy it. Let our team show you you how you can have the retirement of your dreams. Call us now at 314-993-9494 for a no-cost, no-obligation retirement review. You will also get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. We've been helping retirees and pre-retirees retire with confidence for 40 years. Call us now at 314-993-9494 or go online at retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
This is attorney Todd Nissenholz of Kaufman Townsley, and here's one of our clients.
The team at Kaufman Townsley really goes above and beyond to take care of their clients and secure them the justice they deserve.
Injured? Call 314-777-7777.
Let's just face it, right? Your home should work for you, not against you. Hi, it's Kim, and if you've been dreaming of a new kitchen, bathroom, or a finished basement, now's the time to call Lakeside Renovation and Design. They're St. Louis's trusted experts in turning houses into dream homes. Just imagine this, a spa-like bathroom, maybe a chef-inspired kitchen, or how about a cozy basement perfect for some movie nights? Their team handles everything from design to installation so you can just sit back and enjoy the process. Visit lakesidearty.com today to start your dream renovation.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
I think tomorrow night, based on what I'm hearing, we're going to get a couple of things from the president. Probably a recitation of how he sees the last 4 or 5 weeks, the military successes we've had, the fact that we've obliterated their Navy, we've obliterated most of their missile and drone capacity, and the fact that we did take out the previous regime, and now we're talking to new people that I think the president and the administration believe are somewhat more willing to have a reasonable conversation. I also believe we're probably going to hear how he sees the next 2 to 3 weeks when we will wrap up what he sees as our military objectives and hopefully, bring our large-scale operations to a conclusion in a way that meets all the objectives, the nuclear stuff, the missiles, the Navy, the exporting of terror, and also leaves us in a position on the nuclear piece to know that not only have we taken away their ability to do it, but they won't be developing it any further. That's what I want to hear, and I hope that's what he's able to say.
Scott Jennings on CNN talking about what the president is going to say tonight. And 97.1 FM Talk, of course, is going to be your home to hear it. If you are, a lot of people obviously are going to want to watch it on television. It's going to be happening this evening. But we know you guys are out and about. Lots of you starting an extended weekend break with Holy Week, with Passover, with Easter coming up. So if you're out and about tonight, but you want to make sure that you can hear President Trump deliver whatever he's going to say, what can you tell him, Ryan?
Tonight, starting at 8 o'clock, whether he's right on time or not, we are starting at 8 o'clock.
Usually those nighttime primetime addresses are pretty on time, aren't they?
I don't, you never know with him. You just don't know. I mean, he could walk out right at 8, but regardless, starting at 8, we will be on it. So if he walks out at 8:05 or whatever it is, just to keep it tuned in here. We'll be live and we'll carry it for as long as he speaks.
Prediction, is it resolute desk in the Oval Office into the camera, or is it the slow walk through the double doors, the one where Barack Obama walked out and said that he personally killed Osama bin Laden? That's not how it went. It's what I remember, though.
He's standing. I don't think that he'll be sitting for this.
Really?
No, I just don't. I think he wants to project victory and Trump bravado power, and I don't think you do that behind a desk.
The resolute desk in the Oval Office?
No, it's too casual. I mean, it's obviously ornate.
It's the most
regal.
Powerful place you can sit.
No, but standing, it's Trump.
Damn, ending today's YouTube poll, and I'm changing it to that.
Oh, let's put some money on this. I'm pretty confident he's going to be standing.
I'm not talking about, I'm not saying in a predictive way what he's going to do. But I think sitting behind the Resolute desk in the Oval Office is the most powerful place he can be viewed talking, not behind a podium somewhere in the White House. Brad?
I think, well, here's my thoughts on this. If he's behind the Resolute desk, I think buckle up, he's got something serious. I think.
Why? Because it's the most serious place you could be?
100%. But if he comes out behind that podium, he's getting ready to spike the football on Iran.
So we want podium.
I want podium because I think that's, the Abu al-Bakari died like a dog.
Died like a dog.
I really believe that when he
Ethan!
sits behind, come in and break this, or at least tie it.
Break what tie?
Yeah,
there is
bring
no
it
tie.
to a tie.
Anybody who's out there right now, come into the studio.
You count votes like a Democrat.
So when you sit and listen to what I'm saying here,
Ethan!
I'm making a good case here, Ethan.
Have you been listening to the show? No. Okay, we'll catch you back up.
So when the president sits behind the Resolute desk in the Oval Office,
I'm so confident in my position on this that I'm going to let you frame this in a very Ryan Wiggins way.
is he projecting power or is he projecting a calm?
Resolute desk?
Yes. Versus if he's standing.
Can I ask I'm going to now frame the question that I challenge you on.
I was going to say, I feel like it can be both.
Where's the most powerful place that President Trump can deliver a message tonight? From behind a podium? You remember the podium that Obama walked out to say that we got Obama? Or no, Osama. Bin Laden.
Yeah, I do remember that.
So, and Trump has made speeches from that. There's double doors. They walk through. They walk up to the podium, speak to the camera. What's the most powerful place that he can deliver a message? At that podium through the double doors or at the Resolute desk in the Oval Office?
If it wasn't for the messages that had been delivered in prior situations, for example, the Bin Laden, and even the one that Trump made in his first term when he announced that the leader of ISIS had died like a dog, I'd like
the dog was in the East Room too, by the way. So
there's something
a
about
different
walking
location.
down that long hallway that a big announcement's coming, like
So
a
you
big
think-
international announcement.
But I'm talking about, because what Brad said is he thinks that the best news, the conclusion, how did you phrase it?
The spiking the football.
The spiking the football. I've got good news and I'm ready to give it to you is walking down the hall to the podium.
I agree.
But he said that the Resolute, how'd you say that?
The Resolute desk is the serious one where I've got some news for you and we need to share this. I am your commander-in-chief. Sit down. Let's have a conversation.
Yep, I would agree with that.
Nope. Nope. The desk is for when it is serious news. It's not just like, oh, hey, let's announce something great. But it's also, I want to get down on your level. I want to project
the Resolute
calm.
desk in the
Yeah,
Oval
I
Office?
want to project calm.
That's the way you designate that we're way not on, nobody in the world is on his level.
They've already announced this, like this is planned for what time tonight?
8 our time.
See,
live broadcast
he's
on
not
97.1 FM Talk.
He's not going to walk the hall. He's not going to walk the hall because that feels like it only happens when it is like, hey, there's a press conference in 30 minutes or 20 minutes. Like that, it feels like that tends to be like the most breaking news situations. This is way too far in advance for me to feel like it's not going to be the Resolute desk. So I think he's going to be at the Resolute desk.
Well, there are two questions that are being asked. Where will he be? And the only one that I am arguing with Ryan about is which is the most powerful place to deliver the message.
I don't get it. I don't feel it from the desk. He just looks like he's sitting behind a desk. I know it's the Oval Office.
That's
but
crazy.
It doesn't do. It's like
a hall and a
fireside.
podium can be anywhere. We got to go. We got to talk to Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg.
Fine.
Well, no, we're definitely going to revisit this throughout the course of the show because at 1 o'clock I'm taking your calls on this. And Ethan, only calls that agree with me. Got it?
No.
We're going to speak to the general next here on the Annie Frey Show. What will he expect the president? Is there any way to predict what the president is going to say? How is the conflict going? Is it wrapping up? We'll speak with a man who's been on the inside and who has experienced a lot of what we're watching from afar, Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg on the Annie Frey Show in just a minute.
Hey, it's good to hear you.
Hey, Dad, isn't it good to see ya?
Yep, but with smoke alarms, we need to hear them. If one alarm is downstairs, you might not hear it upstairs.
At school, everyone hears the fire alarm.
That's why we install hardwired smoke alarms that all go off together, just like school.
Smoke alarms done the right way.
Green is always grasser at grasserhomeservices.com.
If I could be you,
and you could be me,
for just 1 hour.
If you could find a way
To get inside
each other's mind.
walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out, and for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. You don't hear fast-talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Lance Story Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems, and we're regulated by the Bar Association, and we have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Lance Story Law Firm has helped thousands of clients navigate the best resolution plans, and we tell you up front exactly how much it'll cost. Tax resolution law is all we do. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Land Story Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Call today to schedule your free consultation with me, 314-260-6120, or visit lance.drurylaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
I'm John Morgan. There are many reasons to hire Morgan & Morgan for your injury case. Reason number 3. First, all lawyers are not the same. If my family had an injury case and I couldn't hire us, there are only about 3 to 4% of the lawyers out there that I would hire. And here's why. Most of them rarely, if ever, go to trial. They just take the last best offer. Hell, you can do that yourself. Do this. If you're looking for a lawyer, Google Morgan & Morgan results and see what comes up. It may shock you. Then Google the firm you're thinking of hiring and do the same. That may shock you as well. We became the largest injury firm in the world for a reason. We won a lot. $30 billion and counting. Morgan & Morgan. For the people.com. Who would I hire? I'd hire us.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
Great text coming in about the debate that we just had, but also this, the YouTube live chat poll. Will birthright citizenship be overturned by the Supreme Court? It's a yes or no today. Which one do you think will happen? It is the YouTube live chat poll, and you can vote by finding the Annie Frey Show on YouTube, and we will give you the results at the end of the show. It is 12:30. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
From Fenton to Fairview, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
This for the hour. I'm happy to say that we have contributing writer to The Atlantic, Eugene Robinson, and managing editor at The Bulwark, Sam Stein. Our thanks to you both for being here. So just moments ago, President Trump posted on Truth Social that, in his words, Iran's new regime has asked the U.S. for a ceasefire, something Trump says he would only consider when the Hormuz Strait is open, free, and clear. Until then, we are blasting Iran into oblivion. Or the Stone Age, he adds. It's unclear what the new regime president, who that person is. Later this evening, President Trump will deliver a primetime address to update the country on the Iran war.
And we will be carrying that live here on 97.1 FM Talk tonight. Live, it's at 8 p.m. our time, Central. Is that correct?
Yeah, 9 Eastern, 8 p.m. here.
So we will be carrying President Trump's speech tonight and what he will include in his speech this evening. We're not 100% sure, but we're going to get with our guest here, Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg, who is going to join us here in just a minute as soon as I get the thumbs up from Brad. He's the co-chair of American Security at America First Policy Institute, also the former assistant to the president and special presidential envoy for Ukraine on X at General Kellogg. Let's get our friend General back here on the show. Thank you for being with us once again today. We know the president is going to speak tonight and address the nation. General, what do you expect? Do you even have an idea of what the president might bring to the American people this evening?
Well, Annie, you hope to get a culmination of
the conflict they're in right now. And I think he's approaching that. I mean, the only concern I've got is when they talk about regime change, is when your definition of regime change may be different than my definition of it. And as long as you've got the Revolutionary Guards in control, which most of the leadership is, if the last 43 years, then you've got a problem with them. And I would hope they'd go to somebody different. As long as you've got them in control, you've got a problem. As long as they give up the nuclear enrichment and the enriched uranium, give it to the IAEA, give it to somebody else. Let them control it, not the Russians, not the Chinese, somebody else to do it. Hopefully that's going to be brought up as well. But and they've got to get rid of that. They've got to get it, control the enriched uranium. You know, we can't say we've destroyed it because we haven't seen that yet. But if we just we force them to give it up, I think the Strait of Hormuz is important. That's going to be open as well to international trade. It's very, very important. I mean, we can open it if we had to. I would prefer we open it by force to make sure we control the oil. That's probably not going to happen. We're going to rely on their good wishes but this is one to remember. We're relying on them to do something good, and they historically have always done something bad. Yeah. So it's going to be one of those, you know, we're taking a little bit of hope on this one, and hopefully it's a termination of conflict. We've been very lucky, very fortunate. Great men and women have flown those platforms for us, and we've just had really no casualties to speak of. Those have been lost. We've lost because of friendly fire, friendly accidents, but nothing through enemy fire. So that's good as well. And the sooner this gets over, the better for everybody.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And, you know, I'm thinking about there's probably tiers of goals that we have here, but there's an ultimate mission, which is it seems to decapitate Iran and eliminate their ability to threaten the United States. Can you talk about what we've discovered, maybe through the missiles that they've been firing during this conflict, in what we were told from the Iranians that they had versus what it does appear they've had or what they've been working on?
Yeah, well, you know, the first thing, let's get one thing as a sort of a baseline. I don't trust the current regime in Iran at all. I think anytime you come up with the Revolutionary Guards leadership, they've been so indoctrinated to hate America, to hate Israel, to hate the Middle East. You're going to have a problem with them as long as you've got them in command or in control with the Revolutionary Guards. Remember, the Revolutionary Guards is not the army. They're two separate organizations, and they continually repress the government. Now, what they've done is they've built systems out there, like missile systems, that reach well beyond the need, like a regional need, that can reach all the way to France, all the way to the UK. And you want to be able to limit them to a certain degree, especially with a government like this, where they're going to go to in the future. But I don't trust them, and I'm still like I don't trust the Russians as well. I've lived through a life where, you know, distrust has been built into me because they haven't been truthful with us. And I think when we do that, if we do that, it's going to be best on hope. And come 3 to 5, 10 years down the line, I hope our grandchildren, our children, don't get involved in this because we took them at their word. If that's the case, we've failed.
Yeah, that is a wonderful perspective on this moment in time. I've heard people from the economic realm talk about how it's important that we finish the job. Other countries who have spoken on what America has been doing, Israel as well as our partner in this mission, saying you have to see this thing all the way through. Where is it that we might be encouraged to cut bait and not see it all the way through? What are the things that you want to see proof of, yep, we did the whole thing, we finished the job?
Well, to me, finishing the job, and I'm one of those extremists that say this, is when I say regime change, it means that the Revolutionary Guards, the cleric leadership, the theocratic leadership, the Muslim leaders are not in charge of the government. Full stop. Right there. As long as these people are in charge of the government, you have a chance of retreating to a position that we're going to have to do this again, or something's going to happen, not in my lifetime, maybe not in your lifetime, but another 10 years, 15 or 20 years down the road. If you believe that and you accept that, then it's on you. It's not going to be on me, because that's wrong to make the decision to do that. That's the biggest fear I've got. And they do have a capacity to do this with the Russians or the Chinese or the North Koreans' help. They can build back their weaponry, and create a threat to the rest of the region. Look, they were a big threat to us in Iran, even though we weren't at war with them. They caused American casualties. They caused them casualties to happen with supporting Hezbollah or Hamas in the Middle East as well. So this is an organization, a regime that I just don't trust, and I don't think anybody should. So when we see an end state on this, we're going to see what the president has to say. I think a lot of it's based on economics, and none of it's based on the realism as it seems. Look, I'm going to be really blunt about it. This sounds harsh, but where I come from, you don't put businessmen in charge of negotiations like this. You pick a hard-ass son of a bitch that is going to drive a really hard bargain, that has got a good hard background in this, in diplomacy or military actions, and drive them to the wall. This is the time you need a U.S. grant or somebody like that in charge saying, this is the way it's going to be. If that's going to cause us problems in the short term, then we'll accept those problems. If that means we have to put boots on the ground at Carg Island or in the Straits, then so be it. That's what it's going to be. But it's a change not for you, it's not a change for me, but it's a change for our kids and our grandkids, that they don't have to do this in the future, or we live under the fear of nuclear weapons or some type of regional discourse.
We're speaking with General Keith Kellogg here, the co-chair of American Security at America First Policy Institute. We can often and probably should discuss what are the worst case scenarios, what are all the possible outcomes here. But if President Trump and his administration and the Department of War are successful in accomplishing what they have set out to do, and we have a non-nuclear Iran in the Middle East, how does that reshape the geopolitical area in that region, but also the world? Is it a whole new world for economics, for safety, security? Does it change everything?
Well, look, this is my experience being in the White House. I was in the White House for 5 years plus in the national security space. You treat a nuclear power significantly different than a non-nuclear power. So the direct answer is yes, it does change everything they do. That's part of it, but that's only part of it. It's part of it, and I have to ask you this question, is do you trust them to do it? If the answer is yes, then you live with it. But don't come back to me in 5 years or 10 years or 15 years and say, oh, well, we should have known. I'm sorry, you lose that argument today if you say that. This is when I don't trust them. I think that you need to get rid of the theocratic leadership. I think that the mullahs belong in the mosques. They don't believe in government, especially the ones that are that radical, that you have a capability, a capacity to cause mischief in the Middle East. And I think by getting rid of the nuclear capacity and capability, that is really good for the future. It's really helpful. And we just have to make sure they don't have that ability to develop that into the future. Because if that happens in 10 years or 15 years from now, it's one of those, we told you so, then you own this. Then it's your fault. Don't tell me that, well, we should have. Nope, you had that answer a long time ago. And this is what we should have done back then, back 15 years ago. But you, the American people, were not for it. It's a harsh judgment to make. I realize the risk involved with this, but it's part of the risk I'm willing to take so my grandkids don't have to do the same thing I did in my lifetime, which is go to war more than once.
Yeah. General Kellogg, last question before we let you go. We're so grateful for your time today. When the president speaks, when you've been a part of difficult decisions that the White House has to make, you've advised in a host of different issues. When the president goes to make this speech tonight, have you ever been a part of the consideration on how that speech is delivered? Is it from a podium where he walks through the double doors and delivers that versus sitting behind the Resolute desk in the Oval Office? what goes into making that decision?
Well, that's his person. I do have to laugh because the first time we ever went on a speech with him, there was his speechwriter. I won't give his name because he's a good friend. And I know him, but we prepared a speech and we ended up, he doubled the speech length because he ad-libs a lot. So who knows where he's going to go to. And he makes a position, and he understands the medium. So he will make sure that it's all for personality's sake and for appearance. He'll do what's right, and he always does that. But it's for predicting what he is going to do and how he does it, nobody can really figure out. But look, he's the president. I mean, as I used to say, to guys when we were in the Roosevelt Room or somewhere else, I didn't get any electoral college votes. I voted, but I didn't get any votes. He did. He's the president. And under Article 2, Section 2 of our Constitution, there is one president. He's the president. He makes those calls. And you can advise him whatever you want to do, but ultimately the final decision is his. And just live with it and deal with it. You can shake your head positively or negatively, and I've done it more than one time in my life, but it's one of those things. I understand who's the president. I'm not. He is.
Yeah. And he always has a purpose. He always has a reason why he makes the decisions that he does, and he's right quite a bit. Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg, thank you for the time today. We look forward to following up with you as this story continues.
Thanks, Jenny.
Take care. Bye-bye. Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg, co-chair of American Security at America First Policy Institute, former assistant to the president and special envoy for Ukraine at General Kellogg on X. Let's take a quick break. That big Supreme Court hearing took place earlier today. You had the Solicitor General Sauer arguing on behalf of the administration, and Trump v. Barbara. What will happen with birthright citizenship? It will be upheld and reinforced, or is it possible? We heard that statistic a little bit earlier. 6% of births in the United States are birthright citizenship case. That's quite a few, 255,000 a year. What will happen? We're asking you, will it be overturned by the Supreme Court? Not do you think it should be. Will birthright citizenship be overturned by this Supreme Court? Yes or no? We'll be right back. So I talk about how Point Pest Control is our pest service that we use at the Frey house, Point with an E, pointpestcontrol.com, and I brag and I brag and I brag about how we don't have bugs in our house. But just last night we had some sort of stinging bug in our house, and I think it's coming in through the attic. I don't know. But because I'm a quarterly plan subscriber, because I have them come to my home 4 times a year as a premium service plan subscriber, I sent them the picture of the bug, and they're going to take a look for that specific thing. And it has to do with the heat and the cool and the heat and the cool and the wet and all that stuff. They're going to find where that is, and they're going to handle it for me. So we won't have to have those stinging bugs anymore. I would call it a wasp or a hornet or whatever. I don't know. It looked mean. And we did kill that sucker, but Point Pest Control is going to come back and kill the rest of them for us. If you are looking for a pest service, whether residential or commercial, trust the folks at Point Pest Control. I certainly do. 636-798-0023. 636-798-0023. When you throw my name out there, Annie, you're going to save an extra 10% on the top of the best specials they have going on. Point with an E, pointpestcontrol.com.
Jimmy Fallon in the house, and I cannot wait to see you finally, April 11th. Although we're not calling it a redo because we never did the thing in the first place. You can't have a sequel if you don't have an original. Get your tickets at 971talk.com/events.
It's not pleasant to hear it, but Missouri is falling behind in its spending of state tax dollars, education, and health care. But there are ways to get Missouri moving forward again and produce a better life for all of us. That's why we at the Show Me Institute put together a 2026 Missouri Blueprint, a roadmap on how the state can move to a brighter future. The blueprint covers policy ideas from taxes to government transparency, from education to healthcare and budget reform. Let's allow students to attend the school of their choice. Let's adopt new proven methods to help the many school kids who can barely read. Let's limit state spending growth for Missouri's long-term financial stability. And let's invest in future needs with more nuclear energy. Why not common sense reforms to make things better for all Missourians? Check out our 2026 Missouri Blueprint, moving Missouri forward at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Annie Frey is St. Louis conservative.
Wiggins. Oh, Wiggins with a man's jam.
What is a man's jam? Is it like boysenberry or is it grape?
I would say it leans boysenberry.
Something soft like peach.
Elderberry.
Grape is a little boring to be a man's jam.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know, that's something that little kids eat with peanut butter.
You should sell it.
I will.
You should sell it.
Wiggins
Ready for man's jam?
You need to get a squeezed bottle of Welch's and just put a sticker on it.
Yes. Wiggins man's jam.
That's a shirt. I'm making you a shirt.
Yeah.
Can I make you a shirt?
I could see the shirt already.
It could be another advertisement poster.
That's fine. I
Your
like
room's
those.
gonna look. Your house is gonna look like a movie theater.
We like that one.
Where is the Johnny Don?
Donkin?
Is it Johnny Donkin?
Johnny Donkin.
When I made the
Excessively masculine.
that was my
Yeah.
edition. Cologne. When I made that through AI with your face on it, and you had a bandana. That's called something. It's not an ascot. It's like the man's version of an ascot. Sorry.
Like around my neck?
Yeah. It changed. AI changed it from Johnny Donkin to Johnny Donikin.
No.
And I almost didn't catch it before I printed it.
Ooh.
Is it hanging in your house?
It's in my office.
Do you like it?
I love it.
Good.
It's great. And I love the product, which is Pheromones. It's a cologne.
Is that on there?
That
I don't think that's on there.
brings out your natural pheromones, but it's for men. Pheromones. All right,
And
so
it attracts men.
it does not.
Attracts everybody.
It probably does just attract everybody, but it's only for men. This is a very interesting topic here. See if I can explain this right here. Okay. These are words that a liberal has termed trigger words for conservatives.
So these are things that liberals think trigger conservatives.
I'll tell you this. The article is written in a way that this liberal guy is writing to other liberals saying, don't use this word or you will instantly have your audience, being conservatives, glaze over. You'll lose them because you used a word that they're going to say.
It's weird that
"Forget it."
conservatives glaze over when they get triggered and liberals burn cities. But anyway.
It is interesting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the term that they're saying.
Okay.
And you can tell me whether you think this actually is a trigger word in the sense that when you hear it, for you.
As a conservative.
When you hear it, do you go, oh, great, here we go? I mean, that's your criteria right there. That's your litmus test.
Okay.
The first one is living wage.
No.
No.
I don't think that's triggering.
What about workers' rights?
No.
When you hear those terms, do you automatically think that the person you're talking to...
No, I'm interested in what the discussion is. I have not heard either of those terms and just completely categorized where this I don't feel like I know everything about this person if they've talked about that. I'd be listening to what they have to say about them.
I don't when I hear workers' rights. When I hear living wage, I do go, oh, I think I know where this is going. They say that when we hear those words, we automatically think socialism.
No, I would say that's not the truth.
Did you say living wage?
Living wage.
I don't like that word or phrase.
I don't either because it can mean anything.
Well, not liking something doesn't mean it's triggering.
Fair. But when you hear living wage...
It sets my feet against it. I'm like, I don't know that
I know.
But are you going to wipe off everything that they're going to... I mean, wouldn't you want to listen to what they're talking about? Living wage in and of itself does... Maybe, are we talking about triggering or disliking?
I guess it's really up to the hearer because it can be anything. Does it automatically make you go, oh, here we go? That's the test.
Give me another one in case maybe none of these trigger me.
Yeah, right.
Maybe you'll get one. I'll be like, there it is.
Green sustainability.
There it is.
When talking about things...
It's a scam.
Like, and there's a whole bunch of these, carbon footprint,
yes.
Development environmentalism, environmentally friendly.
Development environmentalism.
All of those things.
Listen, it's funny because I feel like I've become more centrist on... It's weird that we as children of the 80s grew up when littering was not illegal. There was a huge push in our childhoods to not litter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was
$40,000 fine if caught littering.
Everywhere.
Like there was an entire push that was telling people you shouldn't throw trash out your window when you're done with your McDonald's. And I guess that's something that people used to do because to some extent, but it's unthinkable now. And I've said this before, but I drive past that gigantic landfill that dwarfs the Cahokia Mounds every day, and it ticks me off every single day. I'm like, why can we not have something better than this?
Would you say you're triggered?
No, I wouldn't say I'm triggered. That makes me think about using reusable things. So I'm not anti-earth. I'm not anti making smarter environmental decisions. I am anti-paying more for everything so that some fat cat Al Gore wannabe can live on a private jet to fly all over the world to tell us the world's going to end in 12 years. That was triggering.
I'll do you one better. I don't know any conservatives that I speak to about issues. I know conservatives that I don't really dive into things with. But the ones that I do, I don't know a single one of them that doesn't want to be environmentally conscious.
Yeah.
They just don't want the government
to
force
hunters,
it.
talk to fishermen,
Yes.
talk to people who farm. These people care about and love the earth. And most of them think that God made it.
So this person says that when we use words like environmentally friendly and green sustainability, conservatives hear holier-than-thou righteousness on topics of questionable importance.
I don't necessarily think holier than thou, although they all fly private everywhere. I just think it's a scam. I just think it's a money-making
It's a
machine.
redistribution of wealth, too.
Well,
from the bottom to the top. I mean,
yeah,
there's people getting
not in
real
the way
rich.
that the real socialists and
No.
communists. Well, no, actually.
Well, yeah.
It's just a moment of irony.
Next one. These two are a little bit tricky. Equal rights.
Triggering.
Yeah? What does it make you think that they're about to launch into? I can tell you what they're saying.
I'm about to hear how they're racist.
You're pretty close. It actually, what he says is conservatives hear equal rights and they hear that's already legislated. That's already taken care of.
No,
that's done.
I mean, I remember in the 80s and the 90s, women kind of wearing business suits and starting to be voices at the table. And I feel in my entire working career, and I've been in radio now 20 years, I've always worked in a man's environment. I've worked in sports talk radio and I've worked in news talk radio. I've always been in the great minority, and I've never been not respected or appreciated because I was a woman. So I feel like that's equal rights. That doesn't mean I deserve anything more, and I certainly don't deserve the benefits my foremothers did not get. They fought for it, and here I am.
I actually agree with him on this. When I hear equal rights, I just think, why are we talking about this? We've already done this.
Yeah.
We are equal.
Well, they use the argument of equal rights. Can we have a couple extra minutes? We use the argument of equal rights to talk about how we need to not make the situation more equal. We need to repair.
Or bring down certain people.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's about what happened in the past and making good on something that happened in the past. Like, we're equal now. Now it's time for payback.
Yeah.
And no.
Okay, leading into this one. Now, this one, there is a whole bunch of terms here, but I'll just pick a couple. Racial inequity.
This might surprise people. This isn't as triggering for me. I don't think that if you live in America as a black person and a white person, that it's the same experience. I don't think that if you're a Latino person that it's the same experience, but it's because of our unique cultures, I think, that make it different. So I think it's important for us to learn about each other's cultures. There's predisposition that people have towards others. I always say that I think everybody has prejudice. It's important to outwork your prejudices to ensure that you don't become racist. And I think that the prejudice that exists, you can't ignore it. I don't think anybody out there, listen, when you see the white woman walking up to the manager's stand with the short haircut, you're making a judgment on her different than you would if it were a black man walking up there. If they're both got the same mood, you're making a judgment on, what do we call her, Karen? Because it's an older white lady.
Prejudice is a part of life.
Yes.
That's how you make decisions quickly.
It's not the racial aspect. It's the inequity part that I don't like.
So this is the way that they described it. They said if you use words like affirmative action, which is, I don't like that one because that's just like a legislative thing. communities of color, diversity, or racial inequity, like I said. What conservatives hear, in his words, are unfair favoritism, often ignoring economic circumstances. I think that's actually pretty fair.
I'm going to go with Ripper here on YouTube, says, as a conservative, I don't think anything triggers me really. Stupidity, maybe. Promoting hysteria, maybe. I can handle having all of these conversations.
Yeah.
And I can conversate on these topics with facts and also perspective and opinion and handle it. I don't know that,
Yeah. Well, that's why I think the whole premise of don't use these words because they're triggering.
You've talked on here with me for a long time. Is there anything that triggers me? Sometimes maybe the pro-life stuff, but that's just because I'm super passionate about it. I don't know that it's...
Like something that you hear the topic and it just sets you off.
Yeah.
Anything to do with kids. Anything to do with mistreating kids.
Well, I'm not going to deny that. Will Chamberlain at 1:30 to break down the Birthright Citizenship case. Let's fight some more about the podium and the desk when we come back.
Oh, yeah.
You lose.
A lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
Where no president has gone before. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. He was in the courtroom as the U.S. Supreme Court heard arguments on his effort to limit birthright citizenship.
Supreme Court justices voiced skepticism for President Trump's executive order restricting birthright citizenship during oral arguments. Solicitor General D. John Sauer presented the government's case, saying the 14th Amendment was only meant to apply to those who had an allegiance to the country.
The clause thus does not extend citizenship to the children of temporary visa holders or illegal aliens. Unlike the newly freed slaves, those visitors lack direct and immediate allegiance to the United States.
The session was notable because it was the first time a sitting president has attended arguments in front of the High Court. A decision is expected by the end of June.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers. Tonight, President Trump will address the nation about Iran after posting earlier that Iran's president is asking for a ceasefire. President Trump also says he's considering withdrawing from NATO over lack of support for Operation Epic Fury. One Iranian official posting on X that Iran's president will release an important letter to the American people. The man accused of gunning down a healthcare executive in New York City wins a delay in court, but not for as long as he wanted.
A judge has agreed to delay the start of Luigi Mangioni's federal trial in the closely watched murder case of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. The U.S. District Judge pushing back jury selection from early September to October 8th to give him more separation from his state trial, currently slated to start in June. The defense, which was hoping for a move to January of 2027, had argued the 27-year-old is in the position of needing to prepare for two complicated and serious trials at the same time.
Fox's Lillian Wu. Mangioni could face life in prison if convicted. America is listening to Fox News.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids. Rolaids' dual-active formula has calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. Yeah, you heard right. 2 actives for that powerful relief. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolaid spells powerful relief. Read each label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
I'm Boomer Esiason. My mom died from cancer. She was only 37 years old.
She didn't have life insurance, and that was devastating for my family. That's why having life insurance is so important to me. Ethos makes it fast and easy. Get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. You can get up to $3 million in coverage with no medical exam.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/save. That's ethos.com/save. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Scattered showers and a couple of thunderstorms going through our Wednesday afternoon, 75. I don't see much wet tonight. This evening or overnight, clouds will dominate, though, 64. Thursday, unsettled with showers and a couple of thunderstorms, windy and 79. Keep it unsettled Friday and Saturday, but it all blows out in time for Easter Sunday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The Annie Frey Show is sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Air Comfort Service is hiring licensed journeymen. Don't have a journeyman license? Air Comfort Service will help you get it. Get guaranteed hours year-round and more. Apply online at aircomfortservice.com.
Annie Frey, Ryan Wiggins, Brad Ray.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
For goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Just had a great conversation with General Keith Kellogg here on what's going to take place tonight. You said, well, what's taking place in Iran and also possibly what would take place tonight. He didn't predict anything. You said he was hawkish?
Oh, Kellogg? For sure. I mean, he openly said that he was hawkish. I don't think that I'm putting words in his mouth. He was saying this is what needs to happen, and I
felt like he was saying he's got to finish the job.
He did, but he said that I think he said something like almost quote unquote. I'm paraphrasing a little bit.
Don't misquote the general.
I'm trying not to. I know that I'm of the extreme minority, or I'm being very extreme, and it's probably unpopular, something like that.
He called himself a hard butt son of a gun.
Yes, that's a nice way to put it. Yeah, that was interesting. You don't hear. He's right in that sense. You don't hear a lot of people advocating for that right now. I will give him that.
I do not want them to cut this mission short for politics.
I don't either.
I also want it to be over yesterday. So I can want both of those things to be true at the same time. But I think really if we go back and listen to Joey Jones and what he said, and that's been played quite a bit since he said it, he said, don't nation build. Don't win hearts and minds. He essentially is saying the job is to kill the bad guys, to eliminate the threat to the United States of America. Do that and get the heck out of there.
Which is kind of what it seems like Trump is at least preparing us for. What General Kellogg said there that I wrote down that I thought was very interesting. He said, ultimately, what's your definition of regime change? Because he said it has to include getting rid of the Revolutionary Guard. But my question is, what if that's not possible now? What if no matter what you do, you're not going to have that happen? That's not an outcome that's going to happen. Then what? Well, then you do have to stop it at some point. You can't go on forever.
I don't think President Trump's going to do this forever. I don't have any opinion from anything that he said that makes me think that he wants this to go on a day longer than it has to. And I think that the hot and heavy way with which we have attacked Iran is evidence of that. Yesterday we had Jim Carafano on the show, and I asked him about Pete Hegseth, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, has talked a lot about praying and asking people to pray for the safety and the protection over our troops. To hear the Secretary of War say something like that, if you heard, can you do like an old-timey radio thing?
Sure. Sorry, well, I got to go a little bit higher. Sure. It's not working.
It's got to be a little sped up.
Yeah, I got to speed it up a little bit.
If you were to hear something from World War II where the then Secretary of War would be talking about sending our troops into battle, and we ask your prayers for their safety and security in this like kind of raspy old timey radio delivery, you'd be like, oh yeah, that's what you do in World War II, right?
Yeah.
There'd be no question about that.
That's
whatever.
even more recent than World War II. I mean, that's been an American thing up until the 1990s.
And now people are like, oh,
yeah,
gasp. I'm for it, and I like the idea that Secretary Hegseth is unafraid to say it. This is a super defining thin line, though. As long as he's doing it because he actually wants to invoke people, if it's a safe and secure request for prayer and it's not some sort of pharisaical lib troll,
it's not for show.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
Here's CNN.
What I was going to say is, look, I don't want to get into a theological argument with the Pope. I feel like
smart.
Well,
yeah.
Blessed are the peacemakers. But in my Bible, King David prays for his men. He prays for God to deliver victory. Joshua prayed for his men in battle, prayed for deliver victory. Moses prayed for his men, prayed to deliver victory. So it's hard for me to find fault for praying for his soldiers.
Well, let me just give you another.
So on CNN there, you have the Pope said that this is the chyron there on CNN. God rejects war. White House prayer for troops says prayer for troops is not wrong. So essentially, the Pope said that God doesn't hear the prayers of essentially warmongers. And I don't have, what's that guy's name that just spoke there? Former Trump official Mark Short speaking on CNN's panel. I could, but I won't get into a theological argument with the Pope. I'm a Lutheran. That kind of already happened. So I'll just leave it at that on this Holy Week. I will welcome with open arms my Catholic brothers and sisters in heaven one day. But the idea that God, for the Pope to come out and make this statement about God doesn't hear the prayers of those who start wars, I'm a little perplexed by that because the argument can certainly be made in a very secular, earthly way that this is not a war that Donald Trump started. It's a war that every administration in my lifetime has had to wrestle with. I mean, good grief. Ronald Reagan, Iran, remember the stories? It's been going on for decades and decades. Do you scratch your head and have to ask yourself, what are we supposed to do? Just constantly buy time from one administration to the other with Iran and say big things and go back and forth between the hawkish right and the appeasing left and just kind of pendulum swing back and forth? Is this just the way that the world is supposed to function? We just rotate around the sun and continue to do it for the rest of the time until we don't, because they change the status quo. I don't think that that's really what the intent is here. And for President Trump to step in and do something differently, I want people to understand that what Donald Trump is doing, which is stopping the natural cradle rocking ebb and flow that just puts us to sleep on these issues. We just go back and forth with the same stuff, different day, just back and forth, over and over and over. Everyone gets real comfortable and cozy in it, but meanwhile, it's not a safe environment. I've mentioned talking to my friends who fought in battle decades ago, in 2004, 2005, and they said Iran killed people in their group. That Americans lost lives at the hands of the Iranian people, and the same religious zealotry that says death to America. This isn't a new war. And if Donald Trump is the man who will step into the moment to do the hard thing to end it, back to what Mark Short said there, blessed are the peacemakers. That's biblical too. This is like the biggest the issue can be, but you can take almost every issue that Republicans have campaigned on trying to fix, that Democrats have campaigned on trying to fix, because folks, we always argue, for the most part, or at least up until maybe the last couple election cycles, we acknowledge all the same problems. We just run in absolute opposite directions on how we solve the problems. And if you look at what the president is doing, which is stopping the back and forth, the sweet comfort of the devil and saying, we're America, we can do something about this. We actually don't have to live this way. And look on the other side. Can you see on the other side of a non-threatening, non-nuclear Iran? Can you look on the other side of what that might be like for the world? Did anyone else have that thought and just not be able to have that vision? Did they not have the courage to take the steps to make that a possibility? You can shrink that massive nuclear Iran is about as massive of an issue as you can, and shrink it down to every other issue that this administration is facing, that the campaign face, that Republicans face, that Democrats face. How much of it is just we just talk about the same problems every election cycle, and nobody's willing to do something different to actually solve something? But this guy, every time you turn around, he's got a case in front of the Supreme Court today to clarify the 14th Amendment on birthright citizenship. He's doing the biggest, boldest things with every issue he's facing, and he does it without any sense of fear or trepidation. And there's no way that after Donald Trump is done in the presidency, that this country, that the future trajectory of the United States of America is in a new forged path because of this man. You could say maybe the same thing for Joe Biden, but not entirely, maybe in a negative way, maybe in a regression. I don't know, maybe in a recession. You could look at what Joe Biden did and the thumbprint that he has on it. And I know that the people on the left would say Donald Trump is doing the same type of thing. But what did Joe Biden do?
He just allowed laws that have existed for a long time to be broken and encouraged that. That's his legacy, is that he undermined U.S. law in almost every facet. That's a terrible legacy.
It's a terrible legacy. And the people who are writhing in the presence of Donald Trump making decisions that this is a hard pill for them to swallow, that the majority of Americans voted for, because he campaigned on all of these things. This is no bait and switch where you have, some sort of like Virginia governor who's like, I'm a moderate. I'm going to be, not as conservative as the guy there was before me, but I'm a moderate. I'm not like and then they're in there and they're like, what else can we tax? Can we tax that? Can we tax that? Can we tax that? Donald Trump told us what he was going to do, and America said, worth a shot, and they elected him, and now he's doing the things. We're January, February, March, April, 15 months into this presidency. There's a lot of time left. And there's a lot of flex that goes behind executive action. Does it last past the next executive who comes into the office of the presidency, outside of potentially it being J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio or some other Republican? A Democrat gets in there, you see an Andy Beshear or a Josh Shapiro or a Gavin Newsom become the president of the United States. They can undo all those executive actions. We know that because Biden did it to Trump, and then Trump did it to Biden. And then they codified a lot of it into law with a big, beautiful bill. The people who writhe in the presence of Donald Trump's very, very unstabilizing solutions to problems. It's unstabilizing, and it's scary for all of us to watch because we've never seen a lot of this stuff before. We've never watched somebody go in and go, we're going to do it different. And everyone says, you can't do that. People will panic. The stock market will go down. And he's like, it'll be fine. Trust me, it'll be fine. And we're in the middle of waiting to trust that it will be fine. And, he's asking for the trade-off of a few weeks, maybe a couple months of hardship in the stock market so that we can have a non-nuclear Iran? That deal's on the table. Are you taking it? Or are you like, I'd really prefer to roll my dice with Iran? Of course not. You just need someone who has the guts to do it. And then maybe, along with what Pete Hegseth is saying, you need the prayer and the divine guidance to see the whole thing through. Does it bother you that Pete Hegseth is so bold? I kind of drew that delineation there. Is he asking for prayers? Do you feel a little bit, does it become showy to you?
Not yet. And look, even if it is getting into I'm making a point here, I'm okay with the point. It's not necessary. Like, even, no matter what he's delivering or his motive for delivering it, I like the message. So go for it.
Yeah, I mean, he's not wrong to call upon the Lord's name to say, protect these men and women who are moving into battle. And if you heard, I would encourage you to listen to the Jim Carafano interview from yesterday on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your Annie Frey Show podcast from, because he says that he kept his religion close to him. And I wasn't even 100% sure if Jim had ever identified himself as a man of faith or whatever. I just didn't know. But then he starts quoting scripture and talking about how he's like, you can't do what a soldier has to do without having something bigger to cling to.
That was the most interesting part of that interview, was listening to Jim Carafano talk about his own past. You could tell, too, because he really slowed down, because he's on it, you know. You asked him that question, and he stopped, and he said, I'm not sure it's possible to do what soldiers do without God. And he meant it.
Yeah. You could hear it in his voice. It was pensive. The YouTube poll for today: will birthright citizenship be overturned by the Supreme Court? Yes or no? YouTube.com/@AnnieFrey. Go vote. We'll be back in a minute. I should let this song play while I'm talking to you here about Home Shield Foundation. Home Shield Foundation Repair, they are very plugged in to the wet basement industry. You have a quick understanding when you go to their website and you learn about the different foundation services that they provide, repair services that they provide. Home Shield Foundation Repair in St. Louis, a local company, 314-271-9900, 314-271-9900. They are going to be able to get right to the bottom of your wet basement concerns, right to the bottom of where that water is coming in, what is causing the problem, what you need to do to fix it, and they're going to solve it right away. 314-271-9900, that's the number to call. And when you reach out to Matt Hayes at Home Shield Foundation Repair, you can explain over the phone, this is kind of what I'm dealing with, but Matt Hayes is going to come out and look at your basement, determine what your problem is, and give you a customized solution so that basement is waterproofed once and for all. So confident in it that it's going to give him a lifetime warranty. You're going to get a lifetime warranty to ensure that it is taken care of. HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com.
These are on your 15 or 30-year mortgage if it's included in the loan. Just my piece of advice for that. But if you're hearing this after the fact and you do need a new air conditioner, sorry to hear that, but call me, Bart Inman, one easy number in Missouri and Illinois. The easiest of numbers. It is 314-293-2600 or bartinman.com. God bless.
Don't let tax refund worries hold you back. File now with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They'll find every credit and deduction to help you get every refund dollar you deserve, or your money back. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
The Annie Frey Show is St. Louis conservative.
Ryan, when you look at the president of the United States, does it seem like that would be a fun job?
No. I remember George W. Bush talking about how much campaigning was fun. Being the president, that's hard.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like it would be the other way around. I'd rather be getting down to business.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you, actually. Well, he said he fed off the energy of the crowd.
Yeah.
And then once that left, it's probably why Trump does rallies.
You said George W. Bush said that? W seemed like he'd be like the man of the party, though, for various reasons.
Yeah.
So I could see that being the case. Trump definitely wants to do that too, but I look at the job of the presidency and I wonder what percentage of the presidency, people like you and me who are paying attention, what percentage of the presidency are we aware of? How much of what you do as a president is completely not in our purview? I watched The West Wing. I watched House of Cards. What other president show? I don't know if there's any other presidents.
Veep is about a vice president.
Yeah, I know. Should I tell me in the comments if I should watch Veep? I've considered it. I just don't have time. But it's been like my next one to go into. I felt like Veep might be.
Watch the movie Dave.
I've seen it.
Okay.
American President, seen it.
I've never seen that one.
Independence Day, seen it.
Okay. Any movie with a
Presidents.
president in it.
Yeah, movies with presidents. Bulworth. I never seen that.
Oh, yeah. Wasn't there one called Wag the Dog, too?
I didn't see that. Bulworth was, that just had
Warren Beatty.
The song in it, which was Get a Superstar. That's from that movie.
I remember the ad.
I just remember, like, the movie is, like, the
poster
is some, like, the mask being pulled off of Warren Beatty's face or something. I'm just very encouraged here, folks, because if it doesn't work out with Donald Trump, we've got a solution. Don Lemon.
Pay cut. But it's not about money for me. So do I ever think about it? Yes. Could it happen? Yeah, it could happen. If the opportunity presented itself, the right opportunity presented itself. Look, if I wanted to, I know people are going to think I'm crazy. This is going to be the headline and people are going to laugh about it. I think I could be president of the United States. I could definitely run this country better than Donald Trump.
Paper towel roll could, but yes,
yeah.
you would be a market improvement.
As an independent, though, there would be a hard time for me to run for anything because, you know, the way the system is set up.
What issue is Don Lemon not far left on?
He supports the sanctity of religion and churches.
I'd have to choose a side.
Your mouth.
And so, you know, I probably would have to become a Democrat.
Oh, hell.
He's still thinking about it, Annie.
I would Don Lemon. He thinks the news headline here is that he thinks he could be president. The news headline here is that he's an independent who would, if he decides to run for president, would have to become a Democrat.
He's not sure.
And, yeah, so, you know, am I at that point now? No. And I know people are going to say Don Lemon was crazy, but yeah, look, why can't I think about running for office? Why can't I think about being president of the United States when, look at what we have. Did anybody think Barack Obama, as he says, this guy with a funny name is from a mixed background, did anybody ever think that he would become president?
He spent his entire life in organized politics.
Yeah, he was a senator.
You were a host on MSNBC, right?
No, CNN.
CNN?
Yeah.
Same thing.
He had that aspiration. I don't have an aspiration to become president, but I do think that I could run.
Oh, that's the most. I can't anymore. To Quick Rick, he said, don't give this clown airtime. That's the most arrogant part of this. I don't have aspiration to become president, but I could if I wanted to.
Yeah, that's the whole point, is that he's saying, look, I could do this. Why couldn't I do this? I don't even know what party I'd run with yet, but I'd win. However,
he said, gosh, I guess I'd have to be a Democrat.
I don't think that I will.
My biggest fear is becoming part of the montage after he becomes president.
I hope that never happens, but if it does, I will watch that montage and laugh.
Quick Rick corrected me. He said I didn't call him a clown. I went back and checked the record. Quick Rick said, don't give this moron airtime. My apologies. All right, now that's out in the ethos. I couldn't believe my ears when I heard that the first time.
Somebody was going through the list of Democrats who might run in 2028. Like, legitimately.
Don Lemon wasn't on there because he's not a Democrat.
He wasn't on there. But the list of people who really are putting their toe in the water right now. It's not just like, oh, people are talking about them. They're out there. It is
out there,
so
Jerry.
long and no favorite that stage is going to be like 25 people wide when it starts.
All people need to say to Don Lemon is, you said women were past their prime when they couldn't have babies anymore.
Yeah, Nikki Haley can tell him to go take a hike.
I think I might tell him to go take a hike. And I think there are a lot of Democrat women. The women's.
Women people.
I love the women's. There are a lot of Democrat women who would say, get your hands off my uterus, Don Lemon. I bet we've heard that before. We'll be right back. Will Chamberlain, don't go away. Stewart's American Mortgage. My friend Stewie is the guy to call for your mortgage situation, whatever it might be. Brand new house. Are you looking to buy a new house? That's exciting. I hope you are. Ensure that you have the best deal on your new mortgage. You could work with whoever you were going to work with or whoever was recommended, but just call or text Stewie to ensure that you do have the best deal. The bagel loan, which is only available at Stewart's American Mortgage, 314-324-4440. The bagel loan means you pay $0 in closing costs. So if you're working with somebody else and you're going to pay closing costs, why? Don't pay closing costs. I have two in my time with Stewie. I've refied twice with him, regular refi, just to lower the rate in 2019, I think it was. And then in 2020, we did it again to take some cash out. No closing costs for the fries, and you get the same deal if you qualify for the bagel loan. 314-324-4440. 314-324-4440. Google the bagel loan for all the information that you need. It's a smart move. NMLS number 226715.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call me, Lance Drury, today and let me get between you and the IRS. I'll protect your rights. At the Lance Drury Law Firm, our practice is focused 100% on fighting the IRS. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Drury Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis. Call 314-260-6120. Visit Lance, DRURYlaw.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
We're getting a lot of text on this topic. Will birthright citizenship be overturned by the Supreme Court? And of course, not only can you text in 314-241-9797, you can also see us streaming live and leave a comment there as you vote on the YouTube live chat poll. That is today's question. It is 1:31. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
JerryKelly.com. Where common sense rules the mic. 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis Conservative.
currently a system where, for example, social security numbers are generated based on the birth certificate. They say this can still be, for the vast majority of instances, completely transparent. You will still get a...
No, not transparent. I'm just talking about the particulars, because now you say your rule turns on whether the person intended to stay in the United States. And I think Justice Barrett brought this up. So are we bringing pregnant women in for depositions? What are we doing to figure this out?
No, as I pointed out earlier, the executive order turns on lawfulness of status. So if you give birth to a baby in the hospital right now, it gets the birth certificate in the system. There's a computer system.
So there's no opportunity. There's apparently no opportunity then for the person to prove or to say that they actually intended to stay in the United States.
Absolutely not. The opposite is true. Their opportunity to dispute if they think they were wrongly denied, which would only happen in a tiny minority of cases, is directly addressed in that guidance.
After the fact. Yes. After their baby has been denied citizenship, then we can go through the process.
Yes. And the way that, I mean, I'm summarizing because I'm not an expert in computers, but there's a computer program that currently automatically generates a social security number. SSA says, look, a social security number, non-citizens can have them if they have work authorization, so it doesn't prove citizenship. We'll give you a social security number, provided that there's the system automatically checks the immigration status of the parents, which there are robust databases for, and then it appears no different to the vast majority of birthing parents.
Thanks.
So the Solicitor General there, John Sauer, Missouri, a Missourian there, arguing on behalf of Trump in the Trump v. Barbara case in front of the Supreme Court. Birthright citizenship is the question, and we are waiting, I guess at the end of June, we'll find out at the latest what the ruling is here. Let's get to somebody who actually knows what they're talking about on this issue. I have lots of questions. Will Chamberlain generally has lots of answers. Senior counsel at the Article 3 Project at Will Chamberlain. Thanks for being back with us, Will. It's great to have you on the show.
Always good to be with you, Amy.
Can I just not even frame the question for you? Can you just react to what you heard today and set us off in a direction that you want people to understand?
I mean, the arguments actually did not surprise me, and I know I've seen a lot of blackpilling from people on the internet. I don't have the same feeling. I think we have a good fighting chance to win this. Basically, I mean, obviously, the progressive judges, Kagan, Jackson, Sotomayor, have no time whatsoever for the administration's arguments on this. They think it's open and shut. But the conservative justices are really troubled by the way that the ACLU has framed this issue. They don't think it's very persuasive. They think it's got problems. And I think the biggest of which is they don't have a really good interpretation of the meaning of the phrase subject to the jurisdiction thereof. They basically say, well, that phrase just means these three exceptions that were discussed at the time of the founding and no more. And the point that the conservative justices make is like, well, then why didn't they say that? Why didn't they say we'll give birthright citizenship to everybody except the children of diplomats, the children of invading armies, and the children of American Indians? And that's it. And instead, they created this general rule, like you need to be born here and subject to the jurisdiction thereof. And that rule implies domicile and allegiance. And so if you extend that rule to cover illegal aliens, it doesn't work. And I think, I don't know which way I'd bet in terms of the outcome here, but I think the administration put forward a really good argument. John Sauer defended it very well. And the ACLU just kind of treated it very flippantly, and I don't think impressed a lot of the justices.
Will Chamberlain speaking with us, senior counsel at the Article 3 Project on X at Will Chamberlain. I remember when this case was filed, when it was going to be heard by the Supreme Court, that there is kind of, in some circles, some laughing like this is a ridiculous case, that the president and the administration wouldn't be successful on it because it's the 14th Amendment. It couldn't be challenged. But it does seem as though from some of the feedback that I'm seeing, including Senator Eric Schmidt of our state here in Missouri, said that this one is going to be close, and we will have to wait to find out what the ruling is. It doesn't seem like it's a slam dunk on either side.
That's right. And I mean, if, people might, they might have listened to the arguments and think, oh, like they asked tough questions of John Sauer, therefore things are going badly. It's like, no, they having read the briefs, they asked the right questions of both sides. I think the Sauer side has to kind of explain exactly what domicile means and which version of domicile are we talking about? Are we talking about how domicile was understood then? Does it change over time? That's sort of the tricky, thorny part of the argument against birthright citizenship, or basically this argument against it for illegal aliens. But the arguments they were asking of the ACLU were the right ones too, and they weren't just taking for granted that the ACLU had it right. So I thought it was, we're in good shape. We're in better shape than I think many people would have anticipated. if I'm sitting around here thinking, a supporter of birthright citizenship, I'm not really super happy about how that argument went. I'm just not. I think we've got some problems.
So the question in front of the court is the 14th Amendment, the understanding that if you were born on American soil, that you are born into American citizenship. Obviously we'll have to wait and see what the ruling ultimately is, but I would imagine kind of like the tariff ruling that we were waiting for, and of course that didn't go the way the administration initially wanted it to, that if it rules one way, then the question is, well, what do we do now? Because there are people who are in this country who are citizens because of birthright citizenship. I think the stat I saw on Fox News earlier was 6% of births, 255,000 people a year are a benefactor of the birthright citizenship, if I got that statistic correct. Does this even become retroactive? I mean, people would lose citizenship. Whose job is it to determine that? Should the Supreme Court come and say, we're siding with the Trump side?
Well, that's Congress and the executive, right? Like basically all this rule does is set a legal floor about who has to be a citizen, who Congress cannot, Congress has to accept, who the administration has to accept as citizens. Congress has the ability to extend naturalization if they want to people who might be hard cases. They literally are granted the power of naturalization by the Constitution. And then the executive branch can implement those rules. All Supreme Court needs to do is read the law, right, and explain what that provision of the Constitution means. They don't have to be bothered by how exactly it gets implemented, because the only real question is what are Congress and the president not allowed to do? It really doesn't force the president or the Congress to do anything if they rule that the guarantee of birthright citizenship is more limited.
So you think that, I don't know, because I'm not a legal scholar, and that's why we have folks like you, Will Chamberlain, on the show, that kind of like once it's an amendment, it's an amendment. It seems like it should be this untouchable thing. I'm seeing a lot of people who are big experts in the commenting space and the truncated character space talking about why it's absolutely going to go this way or absolutely going to go that way. And then I'm also seeing Senator Eric Schmidt and you yourself saying this is going to be a close one. Are there any particular issues? You've said a couple things here, and I've written them down. Of course, we've heard subject to the jurisdiction thereof, one key phrase, and domicile was another thing that I heard discussed quite a lot. Can you boil down in like super simple form for even me to understand what is going to make this go one way or the other?
It's going to come down to did the framers of the 14th Amendment write a general rule that people could come up with future applications of, or did they come up with essentially try to create a rule where there were just this limited closed set of exceptions? Because if it's a general rule, then it's hard to see how it wouldn't apply to illegal aliens. So that's the key thing the court has to decide.
And then I also heard that I think it was Lawrence Jones maybe who was reacting to this. I can't remember who it was on Fox News, but was talking about questioning if they talked enough in the arguments. And I guess, it wasn't a lot of time to make an argument for something like this. You got to kind of get to the point and answer all these questions from all these justices. But saying that the consequence of it staying in place right now, if you had 8 billion people come onto an airplane and come here and have babies, I guess they're all citizens here. Like, is that a reasonable, feasible way to run a country? Does the consequence of something like this policy, to the extreme, is that considered by justices when they're trying to decide on a case like this?
In small part, but in general, I mean, if I guess it would be if they viewed it as an extremely close and ambiguous case, they might look more at consequences. But in general, what they're trying to do is look at what's so-called the original public meaning. They're trying to, as a sort of consistent basis, not the progressives in the court necessarily, but the conservatives are. And so they're more interested in trying to understand what did these words mean at the time they were at the time of enactment. And that's what they're trying to focus on. And you notice that's why maybe the questions seem a little abstruse to like a normal person. Like, who cares what the random senator in 1860 said during the hearings? Like that why does that matter more than the consequence of just granting birthright citizenship outright? But it's because of a legal theory called originalism, which conservatives have really supported for a very long time, trying to explain that, trying to come up with a consistent basis, a principled way to come up with Supreme Court rulings about what the Constitution says, what the law says.
Senior counsel at the Article 3 Project, Will Chamberlain, speaking with us right now. Go to article3project.org to learn more about the organization. Just kind of in summation of what you're talking about, you've got to go back and look at the original intent. It's hard for me to sit here and think that the framers, the people who wanted to create a country by the people for the people, it's hard for me to think that they would be like, yeah, if anybody can get across the border and have a baby here, they should be able to be a part of this too. That's just hard for me to think that that would have been the intention. I know you'd have to prove it, but that's just hard for me to believe.
Yeah, I think that's correct analysis. It's really it's the thing about this whole problem is that it's a really something that wouldn't have occurred to people in the 1860s because travel was so challenging. And so, temporary sojourners is is the phrase used. We're such a small category of people that you think like the court would have just assumed like, this is not going to come up that much, or the framers rather would have thought this isn't just going to come up that much. This is about, we have all these slaves here. They need to be granted citizenship, and that needs to be permanent. That needs to be something that the South can't change back if they ever gain enough political power. That needs to be durable. So that's the underlying purpose of the 14th Amendment, and the immigration applications are just things that come in at a later date.
Will, my co-host Ryan Wiggins is begging to ask some questions here, so I'm going to let you, Ryan, go ahead.
Will, I've been waiting to ask you a couple questions all day. One of them is that I keep hearing going into these oral arguments that one of the possibilities is that the Supreme Court could almost punt on this issue entirely, that we really wouldn't get a ruling on birthright citizenship, and they might say something like, well, it's an executive order, the president can't issue an executive order on this, and that would be the end of it. Is that a possibility?
I don't think so. I think that there's, I don't think there's any really principled basis on which to say that there's no legal authority to issue an executive order that attempts to interpret federal statutes. So, and therefore that even if the interpretation is the correct one, that would fly. So no, I don't think that's a viable approach at all.
So the other question I had for you, you've addressed this a little bit, but I just want to make sure that I'm getting it right. When you talk about originalism, when you talk about, or when people bring up the argument that, hey, this is change, this is being abused now, this law, I think everybody would agree across both sides of this political spectrum, I would hope, that the way that this is being used now with somebody flying into American Samoa, having a baby and leaving in 2 days, provide citizenship, that was never the intent of the law. Is that actually something that these justices consider, though, or are they just going back to what the intent was when it was written?
So they're not looking at intent. That's the key thing to understand. They're looking at meaning. That's the big distinction I think people miss. It's not that the question is not what was in the minds of the drafter. The question is what would the words on the page have meant at the time? And it's an important distinction. It does mean that how the drafters talked about the bill is relevant, but it's relevant in a different way. Rather than giving insight into some telepathy into their minds, rather it's a way of understanding what these words meant in common parlance.
Will, do you ever make predictions? You probably don't.
I do, I bet. I mean, I think
what do you got?
Honestly, this is not, but I think in terms of probability, and I think that, you force me to pick here, I think we'll probably lose, but I think it's like 55-45.
5-4 loss?
Yeah, something.
Yeah,
it's probably a 5-4 loss. That's my guess.
All right. Well, we will wait and see. And Will, you're always a pleasure to have on the show. You break it down for us. Very, very helpful to have you on with us. So thanks for the time today.
Absolutely. Happy to do it.
Yep. Have a good Easter week. Let's take a break. The YouTube poll, we're asking you about this question that's in front of the Supreme Court. We're asking, will birthright citizenship be overturned by the Supreme Court? Simple yes or no today. We got to know what you think. You can vote at youtube.com/@AnnieFrey. We would love for your thoughts to be shared with us on the YouTube chat, but also the Annie Frey Show text line is open, 314-241-9797, 314-241-9797. Text us. And by us, I mean Ryan. So keep it brief. And Ryan, let's feature some of those texts when we come back. Sound good?
Sounds good. There's a bunch.
All right. Don't go away. We'll be right back in a minute.
I'm Kim Commando, inviting you to listen to my show. Come be a part of the show. Every weekend, I take your calls as we talk about smartphones, artificial intelligence, security, and trends that change every single day. It's the Kim Commando Show, every Sunday from 3 to 4.
There are many reasons to hire Morgan & Morgan for your injury case. Here's reason 17. In today's new world, many law firms have had money injected into their firms by Wall Street, private equity, and other lenders. This money usually comes in at very, very high interest rates. It's one of the reasons you see so many lawyers advertising. I'm John Morgan. This money is expensive and the interest compounds quickly. These law firms can have a huge need for cash just to pay that debt. Why does it matter to you? My fear is your case is settled early and for far less than it's worth, just to service the loan that has mafia-like rates. Our financial strength is your advantage. That plus our reputation makes our firm your firm. Visit forthepeople.com to see our results and verdicts. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
License number GL250000615.
We've seen all kinds of clogs, so remember the rule. Only flush 3 things. Number 1, number 2, and toilet paper.
What about my dinosaurs?
No?
My monster truck?
Nope.
What about...
If it's not the big 3, don't flush it.
But if someone does flush a dinosaur...
Call Grasser. We clear the clog and get things moving again.
Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeServices.com.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Welcome back. 314-241-9797. Text us and tell us your thoughts on the birthright citizenship case in front of the Supreme Court. Will it be overturned? Will Chamberlain just joined us of the Article 3 Project, and he was hedging his bets as a 5-4 loss for the Trump administration. But he says it's close. And Senator Schmidt also tweeted that it was going to be very close. And he said that the solicitor did a good job, a very good job. Masterful, I think he said.
Mm-hmm.
Solicitor General John Sauer put on a masterclass, and I quote from Senator Schmidt. 314-241-9797. What are the texters saying?
Here's one that says, the idea that we have birthright citizenship is nothing short of a scam. That illegal aliens can have a kid here and that kid is a citizen automatically just incentivizes more illegality. Hard to argue with that.
I mean, it's not even like the way they're doing it now. It's not even illegal aliens. Like
it's tourism.
Yeah, I mean, if you come to if your wife is pregnant and you come to the United States on vacation and something happens and she has a premature baby, but that baby's born here, that baby gets U.S. citizenship.
There is a whole industry now in China specifically, probably some other countries too, but I know it's happening in China because I've read quite a bit about it, of women who have babies here who they themselves never even come here. They have the baby implanted in a surrogate here, and there are entire hotels in California doing this. It's an industry.
That's so
And the
crazy.
baby is then a U.S. citizen and then is flown back to China, and the woman has never been here.
I mean, in fairness, neither has the man. If we're going to talk about that story, you got to put that 50-50 on the dude.
Yeah. The man has also never been here.
Thank you. Can you put a little judgment on him, too? They both suck.
Neither of them have been here.
And that is for equal rights.
We just solved it. However, it seems like we've uncovered a bigger issue here. Birth tourism.
Citizenship tourism, yeah. And any other?
There's a ton of text. They're focusing on the things that we're arguing about more than anything, though. Okay. The argument that we had over sitting at the Resolute desk.
Are you just reading the texts that are in favor of you?
No, I haven't read any of them yet.
Are you just going to read the texts that are in favor of you?
I don't know. I'm just going to read a random one. It says,
I have a feeling.
Okay, so the argument was, is Trump going to stand tonight at something like a podium?
No, that's not what the argument was.
Or sit at
That's
the
not what
Resolute
the
desk?
argument was.
What was it? I thought I was being genuine there. What's the argument?
There was a discussion as to where we think the president will deliver his 8 p.m. speech from this evening.
Yes.
You will hear it here on 97.1 FM Talk. We'll have it for you, but we're talking about the visuals of it. And I just asked the question, will he be at the podium, walk through the double doors that open, and he walks through and says, died like a dog?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it at the Resolute desk? That was the initial discussion. You said that sitting behind the Resolute desk looks soft.
Now you're putting words in my mouth. But
that's pretty much what you said.
I did say that it projects more power to stand when giving that address.
And I said that the most powerful place a president can deliver a message to the world is from the Oval Office behind the Resolute desk. So the debate, the argument was, where can you project the most power? Sitting behind the Resolute desk in the Oval Office or standing behind the podium in the Roosevelt Room? I have to figure out which room that is.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know either. Okay, just randomly reading one here.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan is right about standing projects more dominance. Totally random. Here's another one. It says, I agree with Annie. Resolute desk. Such an important place. He's the president of the free world. That's where it should be. But President Trump does what he's going to do. He hasn't asked me yet. It says, let's see, random here says, the desk is the most powerful place on earth. It's where Clinton used to hide the interns.
Oh, no.
You are supposed to read the whole text.
I know. I was okay with reading that one, though. It was funny.
Osama bin Laden's death was announced from the East Room of the White House. So that is the area that we were talking about before. I'm pretty certain that, I have to search this now, that it was the Roosevelt Room where the guy, he said, died like a dog. Hold on. Keep going.
This one says, I hope he does it from a location with a view of the ballroom construction. Lib heads would beat Artemis 2 to the moon because they'd explode. Here's one on the poll. It says, I'm going with no. I don't think they have the balls to do the right thing. Guess who that's from?
Do you have any more?
There's all over the place. Okay, this one says he will be at the entrance of the grand ballroom. It's just predictions.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see. I mean, the reason why he should do it from a podium is if he wants to be flanked by Marco Rubio and Pete Hegseth, because you can't, if it's the Resolute desk and the Oval Office is what flanks the president of the United States. There's just no more presidential place than the president's desk in the Oval Office. So if you're going to just deliver a message and it's the president and that individual citizen that's tuned in to hear what he's saying, that's like 1-to-1. If it's if there is a reason why, I can't imagine that Marco Rubio and Pete Hegseth are, I think, the only two people who would probably necessarily need to be there. Like, I don't think you need to have Raisin Cane standing there.
Howard
because
Lutnick.
Just like peeking his head around the corner. Hey, man. Make your prediction. Where's he going to be tonight?
Well, I don't know where he stands and does that, so I guess wherever is normal for him.
Podium or desk?
Okay, podium.
You think podium?
Yeah.
And why?
Because I think it projects more strength. Standing.
Gosh, I don't disagree with the podium, but I disagree with the assessment.
How about we compromise and he does it from in the Oval Office, behind the Resolute desk, standing.
On a podium.
Leaning forward with his hands fanned out.
Yeah.
And then when he's done, he knocks on the table.
And there's tons of cameras, and he keeps turning to each one individually. Some are super close, some are far.
I like how General Kellogg is, wherever he is, it will have been his decision.
Yeah.
That was his response there. Go vote in the poll. We'll be right back.
hearing from customers and friends that their utility bills went up quite a bit for their electric bill. That being said, and you're looking at buying a new air conditioner, or you're thinking, hey, I guess let's just get an air conditioner so it helps with the electric bills. If you have an old system, it definitely can help you. But watch your thinking. Just because you are told this is a so-called high-efficient air conditioner, it's not going to save you nowhere near what you think it's going to save you. Just replacing your old equipment is the biggest thing, and make your house efficient. An air conditioner is not going to make your house efficient. That being said, it's a great time to purchase an air conditioner if you get the correct one. Don't overspend. Don't believe the hype. In other words, don't drink the Kool-Aid. Call me, Bart Inman, at 314, one easy number, Missouri and Illinois, 314-293-2600. Again, the easiest of numbers, 314-293-2600 or bartinman.com. God bless.
CiviaLaw.com. Have you had your estate plan planned? I hope you have, but if you haven't, you need somebody who you can trust to get on this sucker. You need to get a plan in place, one that you feel confident about. So when you think about these things, you know what it's like to have a friend who loses a parent, or maybe a friend who's lost a spouse, and you're starting to go through these thoughts like, gosh, do I have my affairs in order? Do we have our affairs in order? The answer is no. You either know you do or you need to get it done. And Todd Civia at Civia Law in Missouri and Illinois, he is the destination for people who are looking to have all the corners fully inspected so that you walk out with that estate plan that you are fully confident in. You call 833-995-WILL, 833-995-WILL. Drop my name in there, Annie, and that initial strategy session, free. You don't have to pay for it. 833-995-WILL. Mention Annie online at CiviaLaw.com.
Wait, everything on this IHOP value menu is just $6?
I told you it was amazing. A huge plate of pancakes, bacon, and eggs is just $6.
Wow.
There's also French toast, a ham and cheese omelet, and oh, they got a BLT and fries now.
Okay, we're coming here every day.
You don't have to tell me twice.
Feast for just $6 with the IHOP value menu. $7 in some locations, available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
Retirement can be scary, but only if you're not prepared. That's why AARP created thisispretirement.org. Because unless you've already retired, you're in pretirement, and you still have time to plan. Learn about retirement savings options, potential tax breaks, and how you can build savings over time. Visit thisispretirement.org for free resources to help you customize your action plan and feel the retirement fear disappear. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
The Commander-in-Chief has something to say. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. President Trump will address the nation tonight about Iran, hours after posting that Iran's president is asking for a ceasefire, a reported denial from Iran's foreign ministry.
Meantime, ahead of the president's speech tonight, officials have been making the case that the finish line is in sight. The U.S. is very close to achieving the objectives President Trump laid out at the start of the war, which include destroying Iran's Navy, Air Force, missile launchers, and defense industrial base. But importantly, Iran is still refusing, they say, to hand over its stockpile of enriched uranium.
Fox's Jackie Heinrich at the White House. During one interview today, the president telling The Telegraph he's considering pulling the U.S. out of NATO. The U.K. is now working to rally multiple nations for collective action to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, planning a virtual summit tomorrow. Arguments before the U.S. Supreme Court on the president's effort to end birthright citizenship, focusing mainly on what courts and Congress have done in the past. So-called birth tourism raised as an abuse of automatic citizenship. Solicitor General John Sauer telling Chief Justice John Roberts.
A new world now, as Justice Alito pointed out, to where 8 billion people are one plane ride away from having a child who's a U.S. citizen.
Well, it's a new world. It's the same Constitution.
Many justices appearing skeptical of the argument that the 14th Amendment has been misinterpreted. The crew of Artemis II now on the launch pad for the first human trip to the moon in more than 50 years. They're scheduled to slingshot around the far side of the moon. As part of a 10-day mission, they're Orion capsule on an SLS rocket.
Space Launch System flew a test flight, Artemis 1 mission. It was an uncrewed mission back in November of 2022. The flight was successful, but today is going to be the first time that you have humans riding on the tip of that spear.
Fox's Jonathan Seri at the Kennedy Space Center. America is listening to Fox News.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids. Rolaids' dual-active formula has calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. Yeah, you heard right. 2 actives for that powerful relief. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolaid spells powerful relief. Read each label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term.
Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Scattered showers and a couple of thunderstorms going through our Wednesday afternoon, 75. I don't see much wet tonight. This evening or overnight, clouds will dominate, though, 64. Thursday, unsettled with showers and a couple of thunderstorms, windy and 79. Keep it unsettled Friday and Saturday, but it all blows out in time for Easter Sunday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The Annie Frey Show is sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for their Honor Flight today at gslhonorflight.org. And for HVAC services, aircomfortservice.com.
Annie Frey, Ryan Wiggins, Brad Rain.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
For the sake, kid, keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Welcome back. So springy looking outside. Remember when I was saying a few weeks ago how I love when spring sets in and you get that one rain and you're driving on the highway and you're looking at the trees on the side of the highway that usually winter you're just looking for eagles' nests and hawks. That's what you do when you're bored and you're driving the highway all the time. But you get that green hue of all the buds coming out on the trees. They haven't completely leafed out. The red buds are in full bloom underneath on the lower level of the woods. And then the bark, it's when it rains, just like today. The bark of the trees are almost black. And you've got this dark brown, black tree bark with this just like it's a hum of spring green, this bright green and purple. It's prettier than fall foliage.
I want to take exactly what you just said in a transcript and read it as if I were real high and just see if it comes off differently. Man, it's like when that first thing hits and the buds and the greens, man, and it's all hitting at the same time, but then sometimes it's like black and then that first rain comes, you know what I'm saying? I didn't get it exactly the way that you said it, but I would like to maybe try that.
Well, how much medication are you on right now?
Tylenol, antibiotics,
we know what that does.
And ibuprofen all. So mostly painkiller.
The people in the chat liked it. They're not being disrespectful to me.
I'm not at all. I just think that would be a really great monologue if you were doped up. And if you take that as an insult, I really think that's saying more about you than
Why don't you tell your non-raccoon story now? Why don't you take it from here? I tried to say something very descriptive for the people, and you've turned it into a joke about being high. So talk to me about the rodents that you said you wanted to talk about.
Well, this came up because you had an encounter with a raccoon.
I did not, no.
Well, you had something visit
Why don't you tell your story?
Okay. On Saturday morning, or either Saturday or Sunday morning, the first person that went out to go somewhere, it must have been Saturday, went out in the garage and went, oh no, what has happened to our garage? Because it was destroyed. The everything
The outside of your garage?
the inside of the garage.
Do you leave your garage open?
No, that's what's so weird about this. We still don't know the answer to this. It's still a mystery. We opened the door, and I think it was one of the kids who went, oh no, like I think maybe they threw something away out there or something. And there was, just the things that are around your garage, things that are on shelves and, weed killer and...
Don't get too descriptive here. Just keep walking through the story, unless you're going to talk about it like you're, what's his face? Who's the guy who's Cheech or Chong? Do the story like Cheech and Chong.
I'll do it like Cheech because he has some energy.
Okay. It's weird that you know the difference.
So all this stuff's knocked down everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And also we have a window that has a curtain rod over it with some real old junky, curtains in the garage that never get cleaned or anything. They're just there. And the whole curtain rod, it looks like somebody has grabbed the curtains and pulled down on it as hard as they can so that it's bent into a U shape in front of that window. Then over toward the garage, like where the garage door is, we have two garage doors, but the far one, the insulation on the back of the door, which I didn't even know was a thing, has completely come off, and it looks like it's just exploded. And we're like, what is this? And then we look around, and there's just stuff strewn everywhere, and we're like, did we get robbed? Because we'll always keep the door to the house locked. So first thought was, did somebody come in, try to get into our house, realize the door to the house was locked, and then just rob our garage? But we couldn't find anything that was missing either. It was just strewn about. So we try to figure out, but there's nothing in the garage. And this seems like it would have had to have been a person who maybe came in the back door because we forgot to lock the back door to the garage, but the garage doors themselves were closed. So we can't figure out why somebody would come in and not take anything and just destroy everything. So then we start to think, well, maybe this is an animal. Well, what kind of animal would have gotten in the garage, though? Well, a raccoon, we guess, but again, all the doors were closed, including the back door that's just a regular functioning door, which had a few things in front of it too. So it would have been really hard to open and not have stuff fall down. So, and like there's a cork board up with things that have everything's just destroyed in this garage. So we don't really know what's going on. We step away, we try to think about it. We think maybe it was a raccoon, but we can't figure out how the raccoon got out. We came to the conclusion after inspecting it closer and closer that we did find a whole bunch of paw prints all over the place. So it was some animal, probably a raccoon, that probably got into that back door because the garage doors were closed. Freaked out, went through the trash because we could see there was some stuff once we looked in the trash cans that it had gotten in there. Probably got some food, and then lost its mind because it could not get out of our garage. And went to the window, tried to get out the window.
To the walls.
Hung from the curtain, tried to get out of the garage
Made
door.
all those curtains fall.
Scratched and clawed at the garage door to try to get out, couldn't get out. We found that we think that it ate up the inside, like the trim of our door into the house because it's all torn up. We still don't know how it got out though, because the back door was closed and there was still some stuff propped up against it. So it would have had to have opened the door with its hands and then left eventually. We still don't know completely.
The back door was propped open?
No, the back door was closed, but there were things propped up against it,
okay,
which we figure would have fallen down if you opened the door. But that's the only thing we can come up with.
So you think it opened the door and then closed the door behind it as it left?
I think it opened the door, did all that trying to get out, and then realized that the only way out was maybe to open the back door itself and may have turned the knob and left.
But the door was closed.
But it was closed. It kind of closes on its own, though. So if it got it open and squeezed out, it would have maybe closed behind it.
Gotta have cameras.
Gotta have cameras. And right now, Annie is running a video of her close encounter with a raccoon kind.
It wasn't my close encounter, but the raccoon, which looks like a little baby raccoon, wanted to be on camera, crawled up, and it might have tried to like eat the Ring camera. It was 4 a.m. and this thing climbed up the brick on our house and said hello. When I roll over in bed, if I check my phone at night to see if anything's going on, if I see a Ring alert, that makes me nervous. And when I open this, it scared the poop out of me.
Oh, I'm sure.
And then I was like, Jared, you got to see this. Wake him up. And he just, this little raccoon guy was just saying hi. Jared goes, that had to be a huge raccoon, because the Ring camera.
To stand up that high.
The one in the front, well, we have several in the front of the house, but the one that it climbed up to, it was probably 4 feet up off the ground. So I think in the middle of the night, Jared thought he was like a 4 foot big raccoon. I Googled, can raccoons climb brick? And they're like, oh, heck yeah, they can. They're very good.
Really?
Oh, yes. They have opposable thumbs.
Raccoons are astonishing. That animal never ceases to amaze me.
This one particularly?
Just any raccoon. They do things that I'm like, how is it possible? Just like the story I just told. And oh my gosh, I've told the story before.
Are you going to tell that story again?
That when I walked into my garage in the middle of the night, I was getting water in the basement before we knew anything about Home Shield. And I walked in the garage and there was a raccoon in my trash can, but I didn't know it. And it didn't know I was coming. It's 3 a.m. This thing jumps out of my trash can right next to me, and I screamed so loud that I probably woke up my entire street. And it was such a lame scream, too, because it's just pure jump scare fear where you're not thinking, what's this going to sound like? You just go, and it's completely dead quiet. And you go, but it was louder than that, and it was longer than that, too, because I was afraid. Afraid that thing was going to eat my face. The end.
Gosh.
Ethan Swartz and Local. Coming up next. Don't go away.
Each careful step along the byway, and more, much more than this, I did it my way.
To think about portfolio management, tax planning, and retirement income just to get started. Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group focus on those things and more. Their goal is to help you achieve your goals. Call 636-230-8824 or online, yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IBW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
Marie, is that you?
Oh, hi, Barb. How you doing?
Better now. Did you know we had a little health scare with Jeff?
Oh, no. What happened?
Well, he had been short of breath and was really tired a lot of the time. He just thought he was getting old and was out of shape, but it turns out it was heart valve disease.
How did you figure it out?
He finally went to the doctor, and she was able to listen to his heart and detected the problem. I didn't realize it, but heart valve disease is more common than you'd think. They were able to replace the valve, and he's feeling so much better now.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that.
More than 5 million Americans are diagnosed with heart valve disease every year, but most people know nothing about the condition, and it can be deadly if untreated. That's why it's important to listen to your heart and ask your doctor if your symptoms may be due to heart valve disease or if you're at high risk. A message brought to you by Heart Valve Voice US. For more information about the symptoms and treatments for valve disease, go to heartvalvevoice-us.org.
Don't let tax refund worries hold you back. File now with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They'll find every credit and deduction to help you get every refund dollar you deserve, or your money back. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Hold up. Check it out.
sports, and local.
And now, Irfin's Blurfs.
Blurfs.
One of the originals, one of the classics, Irfin's Blurfs.
That's really where it started falling off the ledge.
Yeah, they
It was
started
right around there. I think that was probably day 3 or so.
kind of normal, and then they got weirder.
Yeah, it was like sports and local, and then it turned into...
Yeah, Murphin's Blurfs.
It's sponsored by All Financial.
All Financial.
Here on the Annie Frey Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative. The St. Louis Cardinals 3-0 winners last night against the New York Mets. Andre Palante, his first outing of the year, 5 innings of shutout baseball. The Cardinals offense came in the form of a 2-run double from Ivan Herrera, and then in the 7th inning, a solo home run from Ramon Urias, who is one of the newest members of the St. Louis Cardinals. So the Cardinals have the opportunity to try and take the series from the Mets this afternoon.
No, they don't. They don't worry about that.
No, we don't?
No.
And what else
Blues
do
play
I have
tonight
for you?
at 8.
They do. They face off against the Los Angeles Kings and continue to try and fight for a playoff spot.
I'm for
Are they
the
gonna
Blues.
make the playoffs, Ethan?
The odds are pretty low still.
There's no chance they're gonna make the playoffs.
The odds are pretty low. Like
there's a
5% chance.
Hmm.
It's like, I would say 5%
How many
chance.
games until they're eliminated?
Still a handful.
Is there a magic number in hockey?
It's not that simple
Of course
because
it's not.
there's so many different outcomes. It's not you either win or you lose. The overtime losses and the point, it just makes it really messy. So obviously the magic number gets a lot smaller quicker if the Blues were to lose the next couple of games. But if they keep winning, they technically give themselves a chance still. So we'll just have to wait
Can
and
they
see.
win their way into the playoffs, or do other people have to lose for them to make the playoffs?
It's a great question.
Yeah, Ryan, why don't you answer?
No, I'm here for the answer.
The Blues right now are, last I checked, 4 points behind the Nashville Predators for the second wild card spot. So they would need a little bit of both. They would need to be able to make up that difference. And in the simplest form, the difference would be the Blues winning 2 games and the Predators not in that time, so that they're even in the amount of games played. But if the Predators went to win some games, all of a sudden it could get a little bit messier. So it's a little bit of both, Annie. The Blues are going to have to win quite a handful of games down the stretch, but anytime that Nashville or any of the teams that are ahead of them lose, they're going to benefit from it.
Okay.
The Chaffetz Group just recently announced, Dr. Richard A. Chaffetz, that they have purchased with a group, the Tom Dundon-led group, I'm getting somewhere with this, a portion of the acquisition of the Portland Trailblazers NBA franchise. The transaction officially closed yesterday, March 31st. Chaffetz joins the group as the co-owner and executive partner of the Trailblazers. He will serve as a member of the franchise's board of directors and its executive committee and the head of the executive hiring committee. So all that to say, basically, someone with massive St. Louis ties. Chaffetz, I think everyone here in St. Louis knows that name. It's on the side of a big building as you drive down Interstate 64, where the St. Louis Billikens play. A lot of people are talking, hey, could this potentially lead to St. Louis getting an NBA team eventually?
Ooh,
Hot take. I'd rather have a WNBA team.
That is a very hot take. You are right.
I would.
That's okay.
Thank you.
You're allowed to have that opinion.
Is it wrong? I mean,
Yes.
and I'm genuinely asking
sure?
this question. And I'm generally asking everyone.
Broadly speaking.
Broadly speaking.
As a broad.
Appreciate you being genuine and general.
Nope. I'm talking just to Annie here.
Oh, okay.
broadly
So it's
speaking.
not general.
No.
It's just genuine.
He doesn't remember the question.
I assumed
Do you?
that Chaffetz was dead. Because anytime I have just figured you name something after somebody, it's because it's posthumous. But is that wrong?
That's ridiculous. Donald Trump is naming everything after himself.
That's a very good point. That is a very good point. I mean, obviously I stand corrected because I know that that's not true. But I had presumed that Mr. Chaffetz was no longer with us. And then he just purchased the Trailblazers.
Maybe he votes too.
Hey, by the way, I just looked this up. Portland is almost the exact same market size as we are. So it's not a crazy idea that they could move here.
No, it certainly is not. No, Richard Chaffetz is not dead. He is.
Thank God.
Yeah, God bless him.
He
I wish health to the man for his days.
He graduated from SLU in 1975, and apparently he is a neuropsychologist and is the founder
we could use him.
and CEO of Chicago-based ComPsych Corporation.
Can he come here and neuropsychologize Ryan?
Yeah, that could end up being useful. You know, studying your brain someday will be really beneficial towards the advancement of the human race.
I would
At
need
least
to know
some race.
Just one thing. How much does he charge? Because it seems like he's wealthy. His time's valuable. He's going to charge me a lot to come
We'll just
here
tell him your charity.
For those wondering, he donated $12 million for the construction of Chaffetz Arena.
It's pretty cool.
Back in 2007.
Terrific guy.
Great guy. High-class guy. We'll see where that goes.
Yeah.
NBA to St. Louis? We'll have to wait and see.
NBA or WNBA? Which one would you prefer?
500,000 times out of 10, the NBA over the WNBA.
Ryan?
500,000 times out of 10, the NBA.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Brad?
I would be more likely to go to a WNBA game than I would an
He
NBA.
almost called it the dumb NBA.
Dumbie NBA.
Well, I'm not interested in either one.
Yeah, I can't say I'm a
but
huge
the
NBA guy,
WNBA doesn't cause revulsion in me as fast as the NBA does.
You know you want to go see them miss layups and fight each other.
They are, but they're both ridiculous
Okay.
leagues. But if we're talking about profit for the city,
Can you dump that?
did I miss something?
She just slammed the WNBA.
Oh, okay.
That's all.
All right.
I would
It's
much
not-
rather.
It's not out of line.
I don't want anything to do with the NBA. I'm kind of repulsed by the NBA. I would be much more likely to go watch the WNBA.
I don't disagree, but if we're talking about like just what it would generate for the city,
No.
it's not even a question. The WNBA would do nothing for the city.
That's not true.
Personally, I would like the NBA to come here, and then I go down to Lumiere with them. We do a little gambling.
Lumiere is not a thing anymore. It's now Horseshoe.
I did not know that either. God bless him for all of his days, Mr. Horseshoe.
Today is a list of things that Ryan does not know. And shockingly,
God bless you, Mr. Horseshoe.
We've got 2 more days this week to just pile on.
It's only Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen.
Good night. You need to stop talking. What's your problem? You just normally you make really big, bold statements that are 75% true, but you know that. You're just saying stuff. What is your problem?
Yeah, it's just like a wiffle ball game, and I am swinging and missing at every pitch.
This is exactly like a wiffle ball game. Go on, Ethan.
A Missouri man on the FBI's most wanted fugitives list and accused of orchestrating a $115 million nationwide cattle fraud scheme has been captured. Joshua Link was taken into custody a couple of weeks ago at LA International Airport by Customs and Patrol Border, LAX Airport Police, and the FBI task force members. In February, the United States Attorney's Office in Northern Texas charged Link, 32 years old, from Strafford, Missouri, with more than a dozen federal charges, including 10 counts of wire fraud, 1 count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud, and 2 counts of money laundering. Federal indictment alleges that Link and 4 others collected more than $200 million from over 2,200 victims from January of 2021 to December of 2023.
I'm throwing the red flag here.
Uh-huh.
I'm throwing a red flag.
He's squirming in his
I got
chair.
a problem.
He was going to make a point, and he looked at me, and he just started to chuckle.
I got a problem.
We know.
That
has been established
This is sports
here.
and local. How is that local? What is the local tie
We
in
have
that
cows?
story?
He's a Missouri man.
Yeah,
He's a
said
Missouri man. All that. I thought he was
He's
a
from
Texas
Missouri.
cattle rancher who got arrested in L.A.
He's from Missouri.
All right.
Touche.
He's from Missouri, and he's being arrested for cattle fraud because that's a thing.
Look, this segment, I am 0 for 9. So I will trust that you said that, and I just missed it.
Literally, Ryan, the first 3 words that I said were a Missouri man.
A Missouri man. I believe you. Good for you, Murphin Blurg.
I feel as though this is the April Fool.
It is April Fool's Day.
It is.
Are
like
you
that one
drunk?
made sense.
Yeah, I think I am.
Yeah. Do you need a
I could use
OCP?
a fudge round. I'm down with OCP.
I know you are. Yeah, you know
Yeah,
me.
you know me.
I gotta make that shirt too.
OCP.
I'm down with OCP.
If you're wondering,
and a man's
is
jam.
oatmeal cream pie. It's not something gross like the song may have been implying, although none of us actually know.
I gotta Google that.
Yeah, let's find out what OPP was.
Other people's property.
Let's just presume that that's correct.
Other people's. Never mind.
Yep. That's what we all
Anything
thought.
else, Ethan? This is your sponsored
Yeah,
segment.
yeah.
We're here
What's
for
going
you.
on, Ethan?
Couple of upcoming concerts in St. Louis, or performances, I guess you could say, because Seth Meyers is not performing a concert, but he will be at the Factory on
Seth Meyers?
April 10th. Yep.
Man, you know our audience.
Brandon Lake
It's
will.
like where to avoid on whatever night you just said.
Where's he at?
Buy a ticket and heckle him.
He is at the Factory, the same place
Absolutely
that
don't
Jimmy
buy
Fallon
a
will
ticket.
be.
Wow, Seth Meyers at the Factory. Okay.
Brandon Lake will be at Enterprise Center on April 12th. Cody Johnson at Chaffetz Arena on
gosh.
April 18th. Are you going to that,
I want
Annie?
to get tickets to that, but I can't in good conscience pay for them. I think it's a charity concert, so I'm not going to. I wanted to take Jensen. That's my birthday. So I wanted to take her for my birthday. And I didn't get tickets when they first were released. I didn't know that she liked them, whatever. But the tickets are, I mean, I don't think I can go for less than $800. And I can't do that. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I think, I mean, good kudos to him. I think he's sold out the place. So
B2K,
No
you
Cody
a B2K
Johnson.
fan?
I don't know what that means.
I thought you had some B2K in your.
Give me a song.
I don't know any. I just remember seeing some in there.
Big fan.
B2K.
Well,
all right.
Chaffetz Arena.
I know
April 16th.
David
B2K
Byrne.
and Bow Wow.
at BSB.
Did you say David Byrne too?
I didn't say David Byrne, but he's on the list.
Did you say
We'll be
it?
right back, folks. Go vote in the YouTube
Didn't
live
say
chat
David
poll.
Byrne.
We're going to check on Ryan. Don't go away. Home Shield Foundation Repairs.com 314-271-9900. Call my friend Matt Hayes. He's waiting for your phone call. That basement, it's got water in it and you're bummed about it. The relaxation that you need to feel because that problem is solved, it's going to come after calling Matt Hayes at Home Shield Foundation Repair to get that basement looked at, waterproofed. You get that lifetime warranty on that basement waterproofing. Call Matt Hayes directly at 314-271-9900. 314-271-9900. When you go through the waterproofing process for your basement, it could be, obviously your home is what we're talking about usually, but if it's a church, if it's a school, if it's somewhere you're affiliated with and you got a water issue, call some experts you can trust. Call people who understand this area, St. Louis. These are born and raised, local family-owned Home Shield Foundation repair business. It's from the ground up, and they can take care of your basement that is leaking right now, get it fixed, and you don't ever have to worry about the forecast again. 314-271-9900, HomeShieldFoundationRepairs.com.
Hey everyone, I'm Josh Radner, and I am so excited to tell you about How We Made Your Mother, a rewatch podcast looking back at How I Met Your Mother. And I'm here with Craig Thomas, who co-created the show along with Carter Bays. Hi, Craig.
Hey, Josh. Somehow it has been 20 years since the show premiered. I'm going to check the math on that. 10 years since it went off the air, and we thought that made this a perfect time to look back, see what the hell we did, and why the show still seems to resonate with fans around the world today.
Follow and listen to How We Made Your Mother wherever you get your podcasts.
New tax resolution firms are popping up every day with high-paid celebrity endorsers, advertising ridiculous claims in their TV ads. That's why they have the tiny, unreadable disclaimers at the bottom of the screen. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. Our ads never have those ridiculous, fast-talking, tiny disclaimers at the end because, simply put, there are no guarantees when it comes to the IRS and wiping out tax bills. And we don't make promises we can't keep. Of course, there are ways the Lance Story Law Firm can help resolve your tax debt, but no company can guarantee it will eliminate it. This is why their clients call the Lance Story Law Firm when those promises don't pan out. If you have tax problems, you have legal problems, call me, Lance Story in St. Louis, at 314-260-6120 or visit Lance, DRURYlaw.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
We've been asking you all day to weigh in on the YouTube live chat poll question. Will birthright citizenship be overturned by the Supreme Court, yes or no? Let us know. You have a few minutes still to vote in this poll. You find it on the Annie Frey YouTube page, and you vote there. You can leave a comment. You can also text one in at 314-241-9797. It is 2:32. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
From Collinsville to Chesterfield, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Today on our thumbnail for the live broadcast that we put out in a whole variety of different places, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Rumble. Where's the other one? Oh, they're right here. Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, X, and Rumble. I've been trying to talk to you about how I've been using AI to try to be smarter about how I put my stuff up, because I try to every night put the live stream up for the next day. So hopefully we have our guest books, maybe 2/3 of our guests booked for the day, kind of know what the layout's going to be, come up with a poll question, try to get that done before I go to sleep. Sometimes if you have notifications on, you'll notice I do it at maybe 1 a.m. or something, get the stream done. And then the next day, all the guests change and I got to change it when I get here, whatever. But I've been using Grok to try to optimize what I'm doing for YouTube. Now, I don't know that there is a way to win YouTube. I kind of have a theory that you just get lucky. There are a lot of different ways that the algorithm will work, and it depends on if you're doing this, that, or the other thing. But I'm doing a radio show, so I have to stand by a specific clock. And when I say clock, that's industry speak for me saying, okay, it's 2:34 right now. I need to be out of this segment by probably 2:44. Chances are I won't be. Brad will try to flag me down and say, you need to wrap. The show's almost over. Mark Reardon standing at the door. But there are just some things that I have to do because I'm on the radio. I talk to a lot more people on the radio than I'm going to on these social media platforms. I use social media the way we stream. Brad, how many shorts do you put up on all the platforms
on
every day?
Average, probably about 4.
4. It could be 3 some days if
Some
I do a
days
really
6.
crap job. 6, 7 maybe if it's a particularly impactful day. Maybe we got a lot of news or a lot of guests. You can post things at a specific time to be better. You can post them on Facebook at specific times that are better. You can post on YouTube at specific times or specific frequencies or whatever it might be. I don't know. The truth of the matter is, this show is me, Ryan, Brad, and Ethan. And we're doing the best we can. Do you remember going through downtown? This is something that people in management of radio hate when shows are like, we want a billboard.
Yeah, but we want a billboard.
I still want a billboard, and I don't really know if a billboard would make people tune into the Annie Frey Show noon to 3.
But there's only one way to find out.
I know, but it costs a lot of money.
That's okay.
And they're not spending it anywhere else, and I understand that. But digital, you can do digital billboards. I can put ads up on social media, and I can target them to people who might be interested in knowing that the Annie Frey Show is on noon to 3 on local radio. So if you want to tune in, and essentially, it's weird to say this, but we're basically a podcast that's happening live and keeping you company in real time. That's called radio. And it's been around for a long time.
Podcast.
Yeah. I mean, for the younger folks who maybe haven't been connected to talk radio, I feel like radio is in an incredible moment right now because more people are being exposed to spoken word than I can only imagine how, the reach that we have. You can subscribe to the Annie Frey Show podcast. I hear that's doing well, wherever you get your podcast from. We like it if you use the Odyssey app. That's good for us, whatever. I don't care where you get it from. Spotify, wherever. But I'm always trying to do everything I can to play nice with Facebook, to play nice with YouTube. It has been within the last, I would say, maybe 5 months that I've even given Facebook any of my time, because in COVID and Donald Trump time, the amount of suppression and sit down, like you are not welcome here, that our channel had, and we aren't even really a flame-throwing product. We are going to talk about the news. We are going to have fun with as much of it as we can. We're going to take seriously and talk about the issues here that are very serious, of course. But I do not look at my job as 3 hours where you're going to tune in to 97.1 and I'm not giving you marching orders. I don't want you leaving this show feeling like you've been tweaked up and worked up so that when you get done here, you've got all of this tension. I want you to feel like you're informed, but you exhaled while you were like, okay, this is the news of the day. It's a little different than what other people are doing. And I can't come on here and never, ever, ever have I ever thought that I'd come on here and be Rush Limbaugh, because I was on opposite Rush Limbaugh when he was on KMOX down the hall. I cannot be Rush Limbaugh. I grew up listening to Rush Limbaugh. He's on most kitchens of what I grew up with, the kitchens that I was in. But I can't do that. It would be so ignorant to think that I could. But I also know that Rush Limbaugh couldn't be, at the time, a young 30-something mother trying to deal with life in the Obama years or the Trump years or whatever. Like, I'm different, so I might as well live there. All of the stuff that's ebbed and flowed in radio in that time, I'm just constantly working to try to play nice with the systems so that we can reach new people. And the digital space is where we can do that the most and get the most bang for our buck, because we're not going to get a billboard. I want a billboard. We're not going to get a billboard. But one thing that has happened here recently, and this is frustrating me, and I've been trying to figure out how to talk about it, because I think it's important for you to understand, if you're listening to the show right now, if you're listening to this on the podcast or whatever, that, radio is free. I have great partners. I just was talking to you about Home Shield Foundation Repair and how if you got a wet basement, you go to Matt Hayes. I know Matt Hayes personally. He's an incredible person. He has a great family and he has a great business. I trust him. I've met him. I've spent time with him and his family. I know this person and I feel comfortable recommending him to you if you need a service. I care about you in this instance the most, because if you don't listen to my show, I don't get to do a show. But also at the same time, if I don't have partners who believe in the show because they want access to you as a smart consumer who cares about quality and value, that's a relationship that I have to respect significantly. And this is the first time that this has happened to me. And it happened maybe a month or two ago. I don't know the specific time. And I'm not going to give you any names of anybody specifically. But I had a client who was excited to come on the show to partner with me. I was going to endorse them. Everything was going great. And they found out, even though it was presented to them, they found out that I was conservative. And they immediately backed out of the deal. And here's the thing. It was told in the negotiations, like, this is a station, this is who she is. I'm not tooting my own horn, but this is what they say. I've won multiple national awards from the Gracies, which are not politically minded at all. I'm always been surprised that I won these national awards being a politically minded person on the right. 2 times this show has been acknowledged as the best in the country non-morning mid-market. And an honorable mention in addition to that, Missouri Broadcaster Association show of the year talent or something like that. I don't know. We've been acknowledged by industry respected entities locally and nationally for doing something that's quality and good. I care deeply about connecting you, a free-thinking individual, with people who provide incredible products, incredible service, and just connecting you. That's the job here. And it, for the first time, when they realized that I do a political talk show, I don't know if I were on the left. I don't think it was because they disagreed with me. It's because they didn't want to be involved in anything political. That's the way it was explained to me. It wasn't like you're on the wrong side of the issues. They didn't want to touch anything that is political. And I just am frustrated that we exist in an environment where I don't feel like I'm a flamethrower. I don't feel like what we do here is accusatory. I want people to come on the show who, we take phone calls from whoever calls, and when we open the phones, I'll talk to anybody. And I always give more time to the people who disagree with me than I do with the people who agree with me. I care about a lot more things more significantly than I do politics. I care about my faith. I care about my family, about my kids, about my home state of Illinois, about St. Louis as a city, and about this area that we live in. I care about a lot of these things. And because I have a political point of view, it was just, no, sorry, we can't do anything political. And I don't really know what to do with that, because when I'm going to talk to people who I endorse in the partnerships that I've had over the course of time, I've never talked to a client who I've represented who's like, we want to sell to conservatives. They don't care whose basement they're waterproofing. They don't care whose mortgage they're fixing. That's not what they care about. They just care about providing incredible services, incredible products to folks like you who choose to spend, for whatever particular reason, amount of your afternoon with us here on the show. And normally stuff like that bumps in the road for me professionally. You guys kind of know me. I kind of lean into stuff like that and go, all right, well, I'll do you one better and I'll make you regret the day, blah, blah, blah. But this one just ticked me off. It actually hurt my feelings. And Ryan, I know you're surprised to find out I have feelings.
I'm finding out right now.
It's just, do we live in a world right now where I'm having, radiation, stay far, far away from me because I have a political point of view that 50% of the country has. And the service that this person provides, a lot of you would have loved to have used it. And I think a lot of you would have gone to use this service from this company because you heard about it here. You'd think, okay, the next time I need that, I'm going to go to that place. I heard Annie talking about it. But because I have a political lean, and here's the other thing. If you're not identifying yourself as a conservative, there's a default that people expect everybody else to be. It's not a fair fight.
Yeah, and if my take would be that if you are a liberal or left of center at all, even slightly, and you're like, I would like to advertise to this group of people, you could still advertise on the show and reach a lot of people. But I understand if you're like, but I don't like the message. Okay, fine. But if you're a conservative of any type, even barely right of center, I get frustrated when people are afraid of just being who they are somewhat openly.
Well, if you're going to partner with us in the show, like, I don't know the politics of a lot of the people.
It's kind of my point too.
I mean, we're just people who need things and services and products, and we do have an opinion. We do, and we get to. And I don't feel like what we're doing here on this show is disrespectful to people who have a different opinion. Can I be passionate about an opinion? Can I be fully energized and invested about a policy or something that's going on? Do I have the right to have that? And know that there are people listening right now who completely disagree with that, who might also like to use the service or use the good, buy the good that we're talking about here. I want to live in that world. I don't want to live in the world where if you acknowledge that politics exists, it's just like, I can't be a part of that.
It's the best example I can think of right now that we're still the underdog. We're still not the mainstream. The president may be a Republican.
Even
Congress
though
may be
we're in the
Republican.
majority,
Yeah.
even though, in my opinion, yes, we have the less inflammatory positions on most things. It's a common sense, less government, less taxes, basic understanding. It was just a huge bummer that happened. And I just thought, I want to tell you that because what we're trying to do here on this show, when we're trying to talk about like, hey, come subscribe to us on the Annie Frey YouTube channel, I'm working my tail off. Brad, Ryan, and Ethan are working our tail off to try to put something together that reaches people. And we are just fighting against a battle that, because we are conservative and we're not out there hiding it, some people just don't want to be associated with us. And I think it feels a little un-American to me. I respect everybody's business decisions to make them for their own, but I just feel like, listen, Republicans buy sneakers too, right? We'll be right back. Don't go away. I want to talk to the folks that are running businesses right now, and you've got an HVAC concern you're facing, and you want to make sure that the people you come out, you can trust them. You're not going to get taken for a ride. You are going to get your HVAC concerns fixed right away with the best customer service. Air Comfort Service is ready to do that. Residentially, of course, they can help you with all of your HVAC, heating, cooling, insulation needs. But same thing goes for commercial businesses. If you're a building manager, business owner, if you're an office manager or operations manager, and you know that your HVAC system is in need of repair, please consider hiring Air Comfort Service to do the job. You can reach out to them at 314-513-0091, 314-513-0091, and get a free second opinion on heat exchanger or compressor repairs. Call them at 314-513-0091, 314-513-0091, and tell them Annie sent you. You can learn everything you need to know as well online at aircomfortservice.com.
Never miss a beat. Take 97.1 FM Talk with you. The voices you trust, Mark Cox, Annie Frey, Mark Reardon, Scott Jennings, and more are just a tap away with the Odyssey app. Stream 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
I'm fixing to tell you something that the insurance industry does not want you to ever hear. Bullies often delay and deny. I see them sitting on premiums paid and making money and dragging it out for as long as they can. Many times, we're forced to take them to court. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Their high-paid lobbyists are on a mission to make sure that at trial, jurors are not allowed to learn that the at-fault party has insurance, and in some cases, lots of it. I can think of no case in all my years where there was no insurance for the at-fault party. So let's fight back. It's all these bullies understand. Tell everybody you know the truth. If you've been injured in a car crash or hurt at a store or business, visit forthepeople.com. We're here 24/7. It's that easy. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
The Annie Frey Show is St. Louis Conservative.
Every day this week has felt like Friday.
Why is that?
Probably because my kids are home
Yep, that's it.
for spring break. Have you felt like that?
Yeah, same thing.
It feels like there's less pressure.
And the spouses are at home, too.
Yeah. Here's a funny Ask Me Anything. It's not Friday, but Info Dude says, if you could hack an electronic billboard, would you put up an ad for your show, or would you put up an ad for a different show and get them in trouble for hacking that billboard?
Ooh, yeah. I'd probably put up a billboard for...
Mark Cogg?
No, probably Ethan. I know he doesn't have like a particular show. It would just
Ethan
say
Sports
Ethan
and Local, 218.
Ethan Hannaford, and just a picture
Andy
of
Frey
him.
Show.
No call to action, just that. And maybe his social security number.
Oh, no. Oh, man. The YouTube poll for today, will birthright citizenship be overturned by the Supreme Court? I was mentioning the YouTube channel in the last, and just kind of the stuff that we've been trying to do behind the scenes to help grow the show, just with our hands all in the middle on deck. And if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, Annie Frey, Frey, and you turn on notifications, every day it'll pop up and you can vote because when it goes up, the YouTube poll will be there. You can click on that, vote in the YouTube poll, and then you'll have your vote in. Will birthright citizenship be overturned by the Supreme Court? Yes or no? What do you think, Brad?
Yeah, by overturned, will they side with Trump? I think they will. I think it's going to be real close. I think it's going to be a 5-4, but I think they will side with Trump on this.
I'll bet $1,000 Ryan says they don't.
Why would you think that?
1, because Brad said they would. 2, because you like to be contrary.
Well, that's the same. Brad said they would, and I like to be
Brad's
contrary.
like, that's not true.
Not contrary just to Brad, but contrary to what our audience wants. You love being Mr. Hot Take. It doesn't matter if it ever materializes.
That's insulting, Mr. Hot Take. That's ridiculous.
Am I right? I'm right.
Oh, you're absolutely right.
Yeah,
I'm contrary.
Ryan always struts in and he's
but I'm
like,
not Mr. Hot Take.
I got some inside information here, and I know what's going to happen. That he says like a trucker, and he's like, he understands. No offense to my favorite truckers.
Right. I walk in and I'm like, you guys on the CB?
Mm-hmm.
And you guys usually aren't. So I'm like, okay, well, let me tell you what's going on.
I saw a baseballer post on Facebook that said CB Buckner got fired.
No.
Thanks for that.
Pretty sure it's April Fool's.
Okay.
I didn't look into it because I'm going to live in that reality for a little bit.
I saw a news report that said the arch had fallen into the Mississippi River.
Oh, crap.
I know. I think it's April Fool's, but I'm not sure.
How'd that not make it?
Should have given it to Otani.
Yeah, how'd that not make the news? Really?
Go on.
Okay, I've been watching
Now the question is,
reports.
are you contrary to Brad and what the audience wants, or are you contrary to what Annie said you were going to do? Watch him go cross-eyed here.
It doesn't change either way because I've been watching what the
Here's the inside
justices
info.
have been saying throughout the show during oral arguments.
What do your sources tell you?
They're just quoting. It's going to come down to the same two that
Two options, yes
Will
or no?
Chamberlain said
Will
that it's going to come down to Amy Coney Barrett and John Roberts. And John Roberts,
he's coming in for the hot take when he lowers the register.
John Roberts looks extremely skeptical. So it's going to come down to Amy Coney Barrett. I don't think it's going to happen.
See?
I don't think it's going to happen. I'm a no.
Give me
and
my
I think it'll go
$1,000.
5-4. It'll go 5-4 against it. I don't like it. I wish I could report something better. But Amy Coney Barrett, she still is a little loose. Justice Roberts.
Amy Coney Barrett is loose?
Yeah, she's loose. She hasn't decided entirely. Her quotes are not hard in one direction or the other.
Give me the names of your sources.
Twitter.
It's not even the right
Doesn't
name.
even exist.
X. If you go to twitter.com, it goes to this website here. Yeah, that's my answer. I'm skeptical, unfortunately, and I don't like it.
As suspected.
Yeah, you got it right. But I'm not doing it just to be contrary. I'm just basing it on those two justices.
I think you're just doing it because that's what I said was going to happen earlier in the show, and you're copying me.
Did you?
Oh, yeah.
You thought it was going to be Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and Thomas and Alito in favor of overturning it, and the other 5 against?
Huh?
You know what I mean.
No.
Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, Thomas, and Alito
I
would
said
vote.
the Chief Justice and Amy Coney Barrett would vote against it.
So, yeah, they were saying the same thing.
No, I said it, and you copied
Oh, I'm
me.
copying.
See how that works?
So you're a no.
This isn't new information.
It is to me, who doesn't listen to you.
I know. That's why we make you do the podcast, so you actually hear the show
Right.
that you're on. The YouTube poll, 518 votes on the YouTube poll today. Will the Supreme Court overturn birthright citizenship? Folks, It's a 5-4 no. 54% of you said no. 46 said yes. That's maybe a little prophetic here on the Annie Frey Show. We'll find out by June, maybe beforehand. For everybody who tuned in today, thank you so much. Do not go away. The Odyssey app and 97.1 FM Talk will continue with the Mark Reardon Show. Don't forget, Trump live tonight at 8 p.m.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Money, sponsored by Ethos.
When it comes to your kids and money, sometimes it pays to be the bad cop.
We love our kids. We want to bubble wrap our kids. We want to make sure they have, as good of a start as possible.
Financial planner Ed Jertson says guidelines on spending, credit cards, and employment can teach valuable life lessons.
Try to set that up as early as possible, along with all the other guardrails to help guide these children forward.
I'm Rob Hart.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get